I should tell you, the trail went dead after Romania. Our team found no records of any kind. No name. Nothing.
I think they called me 47.
That's not a name.
So make it one.
All right. Agent 47.
This is your gift and your curse. Touching lives only by ending them.
Welcome everyone to our latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka The Gozfather.
I'm Christian, aka Pseudo45.
I'm Preston, a.k.a. Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah, you are. And it hasn't been that long since we recorded, just a couple of days ago.
Exactly.
2 days.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of stuff to talk about, but before we do that, let's do our stop like we always do over to Preston's comment corner.
Yeah, we got another comment from Jake.
We gotta pay somebody to do an animation for this, like
The comment corner for it, yeah.
like have like Preston have like a little all three of us have like little chibi heads like in a car and we're like driving and we pull over to the comment corner.
You know what would be funnier? I'm sorry. This would be ridiculous to animate, but like if we were sitting on the couch, you and I, Christian, and we looked over and there was like a dark shadowy corner, and it's just Preston hunched over his little furry helmet.
Yeah.
And he just like looks back in this like chibi art. Like, ah!
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Anyway. You could do a lot with that.
You could. Got a comment from Jake. Says, I like these games are coming out this month thing. It's a great idea. Thank you, Jake. I will be trying to remember to do that as long as I remember. Keyword, remember. Also, thank you to Christian for the shout out. Alex, you got to read Berserk. It's perfection.
I have news on that.
Okay. It's as dark fantasy gets, though there are certain parts where you'll want to take a cold shower after reading. It's a unique experience. Also, the eclipse was animated. It was in the movie. That movie really fucked me up when I watched it.
Yeah,
So where do I find the movie? Because Crunchyroll...
I'm going to send you something. So, I found this out, and Jake, thank you, because I was going to bring this up, so shout out to you again for everything related to Berserk now. So some hero went throughout the years, there's been different sort of renditions of the eclipse. There's the 1997 show, and that has a bunch of it. And then there's this also thing that they did for like the Millennium or something like that they called it, where they try to like, it's like, it sort of has like that 3D like art style and stuff like that. And then there's also like certain panels and stuff. Some hero went through, and I saved it in my YouTube thing so I could send it to you guys afterwards.
Okay.
Some hero went through and stitched together the best version of like the best parts of everything. And so the 1997 plus the Millennium and certain panels and everything like that, so that you could have the perfect visual representation of the eclipse portion ever. It is incredible. Let me
What
double
you're
check.
saying though, that is different than what Jake's saying, where somebody did an actual movie.
That's I think the 1997 one is the movie. I don't know for sure. And then there's also the Millennium thing, which is I think also, I don't know if it's just if they did like a short, or if that part is, if the Millennium thing is like a show, like an animation that they did. I'm not really sure. But the 1997 one is a movie.
While you're looking, let me just say this. I'll address it now versus my week, which is, so Jake, you and I need to talk, because I think I want you to order me the same thing that you've been ordering for Christian, that collection, because I read chapter 1, so not the big omnibus that collects like multiple chapters like you have, Christian.
Yeah, just
but, like,
chapter 1.
Literal book 1, which is 290 pages, 240 pages.
Yeah.
So I'm going on a lake trip this week. I downloaded one to the Kindle. I have the Kindle Paperwhite or Black and White or whatever, which is perfect because all of this artwork is black and white. So it actually looks really good on the Kindle. And it was on sale like 90% off. So I got the first chapter for $4.99. I laid in bed last night and read from page 1 to the end. And read through the whole thing in one sitting. And was like, well...
Guess I'm going to get these then.
I guess I'm going to start doing this. But I can't do all like 70 of them. That's insane. Or 47. So I think I want to do the collection. So Jake, you and I...
Dude, and the books are so nice, man. Like,
the art is incredible, right? So like, I would like to just have it too, but
I think your bookshelf would appreciate it if you didn't get all those little tiny ones.
In our Discord here, in the links I need later, if you can feel free to click through this. I've put it in here so that everybody can just have easy access to it. That is, if you were looking for a vision, and I clicked through it, and there's parts of it that I remember seeing now. Which is why I think what Jake was talking is that when I went through it, I was like, oh, fuck, okay, I remember being here and seeing some of this stuff. So, yeah, this is... Some hero went through and did God's work and, like, stitched together everything so that you could get,
master
like...
edit. Yeah.
Basically, because, obviously, like, think about, like, Full Metal Alchemist and then Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, right? Like, Full Metal Alchemist follows the manga pretty okay, but then like towards the end, because the manga wasn't done yet, it takes its own liberty and does its own thing. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is like a way more like really adheres to the details in the manga and then goes that way. But there's still, even then, there's this like little details that you miss just because there's things that you can't like. Shows would go on for years if you had to show every single panel, right? So they trimmed down some of the fat or whatever. This person went through and cut it so that it made sure that you basically get the full manga experience, like from the Eclipse, and stitch it together through the different pieces that everything does end up grabbing. So hey, shout out, it's cool. I'm worried about giving credit because I'm scared. Although I didn't see any ads, so I don't think you can get copyright struck. Yeah, so I didn't see any ads, so I actually think it's okay. So the YouTube account is literally just called Random. There you go. But if you just go to the Random, it's what it is. But then it's just Berserk: The Eclipse. That's it. It's about an hour and 19 minutes long. Chef's kiss. Fantastic. So
the wild thing is like, again, 240 pages, 250 pages I read last night for chapter 1, which I get it. Manga, like, they're physically smaller than comics, and there is artwork. So how does that equate to a comic? Probably more like 60, 70, or 80 pages. Right?
I would say that's probably fair.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's still longer than your traditional comic, regardless. Like, all of this stuff, the anime that I was watching, like, drops Guts in where he's meeting, like, those knights.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, he's, like, fighting them, and you're like, what is going on? And kind of this whiplash, and, like, through that, it then cuts to where he's in town, and he meets Puck and other stuff. Like, none of those characters, minus Puck, are in the whole first chapter. And they do all of this back, like, there's enemies and characters, like, he's fighting and introducing, like, his brand with the demons and other stuff that they just assume in, like, episode 1 of that anime, and I was like, this is very different. So
yeah, that's why I said it's just reading is the only way to do it.
So Jake, if we haven't talked, because I am going out of town tomorrow, by the time this comes out, we will chat, but you may have already received a text message from me, and then it won't even matter. But yes. It's good.
Cool. Well, that's all the comments we got for today. This week, for that matter.
Well, we didn't have a lot of time, to be fair. But what were you going to say, Christian?
I was going to say, because I have an idea for some things that we could talk about.
Quick discussion.
And then Preston has some discussion things that he wants to bring up. So I will just bring up my week very shortly then. 2 things. I played about an hour so far of the new Diablo season and their little roguelite mode that they've got in there. It's great. I'm very happy. I'm so happy that it seems like they're listening and it's getting better. It makes me really excited for the expansion that's coming out
My Barbarian
in October.
tonight. I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Gonna name her Barda.
So-
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, so Preston and I are going to get back in there. I'm definitely going to try to finish and get everything off of this season's Battle Pass again like I did last time. Yeah, I thought it was great. And then the second thing is, I haven't had a chance to play this yet. It literally just happened. So this podcast continues to be Gabe Newell's and Valve's favorite podcast on the internet.
Oh.
You can make sure that that's booked and marked there.
Yeah.
I got invited to their new game, Deadlock.
Okay,
So
Oh, shit,
they're-
did you?
Real quick.
Yeah.
I did as well. We
Yep.
have a friend who gave us the connection.
Yep. But it's still Gabe Newell's favorite podcast and Val's
Sure.
favorite podcast.
Yeah.
So
I had no idea what
you
it
know.
was, so if you want to explain it to me what the fuck that is, because
Yeah, so it is
know.
basically their shot at a hero shooter, more or less.
it's Valve. And they produce
But-
gold whenever they do decide
but-
to make a game.
But don't think of it like an Overwatch. Like
I'm just
when I
gonna
say
go into
hero
blind,
shooter,
yeah.
I just mean like your character will have abilities and it is a third-person shooter. Like that's it. But otherwise, it seems like it's mixing MOBA with like shooter and objectives like all at the same time. And there was a team of people that split off of the Dota development to do this thing. So we will see where this goes and how it goes.
Yeah, we know that little game Dota has never had success in its
Right.
history of
It's just a
games,
mod
so-
for Warcraft 3. It's fine.
So if Valve is excited about this game, and so are the devs, and the way Valve develops games, right? So I think there's probably a pretty good shot that this game will have some legs of some
Yeah.
kind. Well, even if it's not for me, but
I'll still check it out. Sure.
yeah. So Preston and I can report on that next session, but yeah, we got invited. Like I said, we're just continuing the brand of Gabe Newell's favorite podcast on the internet. So
And though we believe that's true, just in case for some reason Gabe Newell isn't quite sure who we are, the person that has the connection that gave you the information for the game and the invite, maybe you should just pass it along.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, I think
Slide
so.
it in there
Yeah.
in a corporate email or something.
Um, The other thing is, so I wanted to ask because we didn't get a chance to talk about this. Also, shout out to Two Worlds Podcast because I know that they are. I think by this point it will have already been discussed for everybody.
Yes. That's the thing I think I'm thinking of. Yes, they have done this
Yeah.
2 episodes ago.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So,
Comic-Con.
yes, yeah. I just didn't know if. Yeah, yes, it'll be yeah. So, I wanted to get your guys' take on some of the, all the stuff that we talked with the Tony Stark getting Robert Downey Jr.
Robert
getting
Downey Jr.
announced as
Dr. Doom.
getting him as Dr. Doom. I was telling Preston about this before we recorded. There's a thing that we both listened to that I heard a great take, which was, this is what you get when the richest people on the planet panic. Which I thought
Pretty
was good. But yeah, so I don't know. I obviously think it's lame, but that's, but yeah.
I feel it is. I mean, it's just the thing is that there's so many good actors out there they could get, like prestigious actors to try to play like something that cool, like that iconic of a villain. I get that we're doing Secret Wars with it, so it's probably going to be some weird alternate universe version of Tony Stark that went bad, and because I know that is an actual thing, like a what if.
there is
There's
precedent.
like a what
for
if
it.
comic of that to where it happened, but that's not what I would have wanted, and I'm not the biggest Fantastic Four fan, but if I had to guess, that's not what the Fantastic Four fans wanted. They wanted the actual Victor Von Doom. They didn't want Robert Downey Jr. to play another character in the MCU. It's just them trying to get other fans back, but the fans of the comic books are sitting there going, but why? Like, we're all sitting here playing in our heads, like, who would we get to play Von Doom? Like, who's these great? Like, the Cillian Murphy, I thought would have been like a great idea. Like, he's a great actor, he's a great character actor. I thought he would have been fucking phenomenal. He hasn't been in Marvel movies yet. I don't even think he would care to be in Marvel movies, but if you give him a cool character like Von Doom, he might actually be interested in it if you do it proper. But
Cillian Murphy did say he's willing to read any script. So send him a
Yeah.
comic book script, and if it's good, he'll do it.
yeah.
He doesn't care.
So, I mean, it's just, there was so much opportunity to have, like, a new actor to do something different in there, but they're like, nope, Just gonna get RDJ because RDJ apparently needs another check. So let's let him have
So-
it. He's a good actor. I think he can do it well. I just don't like the idea of that.
I'm torn, and I don't know what Jake. I don't know what they've said on Two Worlds yet. I haven't downloaded to listen to while I travel. And that's tomorrow, so I haven't listened to it yet. I'm torn for a couple reasons because, like, honestly, it starts with Kang. There was some weird stuff that happened with Jonathan Majors and his girlfriend, but also the more and more that came out, it seems like it's more of a murky story than people wanted to believe. So I haven't read up on the final court cases. I don't actually know what he was in trouble for.
I think the most recent one was that
They were
it
both
actually
shitty to
flipped
each
the other
other.
way, and it went. He got.
He did it. He got like it maybe wasn't as bad as it seemed.
No. Sorry, like as in like it seems
did.
like they threw the book at him. Yeah. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but like, here's the thing. There's two ways you go about this. I guess three. One they did, but the other two ways you go about it is you could pull a Disney, or DC, and say it doesn't matter. We're going to stick with this person and put him in movies anyway. I don't actually think that's the right way. I think they should have gotten rid of what's Ezra Miller that did the Flash. I think he's a terrible actor and a terrible person. But you also like Robert Downey Jr. went to prison for drugs, guys, and now he's the face. So like I don't like the moral high horse. But the other way you could go about it, he's a variant. You could just recast it, or don't act like it's a variant. Recast it like you did with Don Cheadle. And just move on about your day. Like, I think the Kang thing is interesting, and I think it was handled poorly, and they freaked out and pulled the ripcord too early. With that being said, there was leaked information about what the story with Kang's war was supposed to be. Okay. And maybe it's for the best. Because the idea for Kang Dynasty to lead into Secret Wars was they were going to do something about, like, they were going to do the anchor beings that they introduced in Deadpool, right? They're going to do the anchor beings for every timeline, which was going to bring Wolverine into it, and it was going to bring, I think, Mr. Fantastic into it, but it was also going to re-bring in the 3 Spider-Men we saw from the Spider-Man movie with Tobey and Andy and
Tom Holland.
What's his name? Yeah, like, and you were going to bring those people back, and, like, we just did that. So I don't think we need to rely. Like, so, like, I think maybe we were saved from a shitty story, but we lost a good character.
And again, I'm not like my burnout was a long time ago, but
yeah,
I think it is like it feels like a column A, column B situation. I don't really feel like people were that hyped for Kang Dynasty to begin with. So
because they did such a shitty job with Quantumania.
Right.
Well,
so like
I think the hype that was there was from the Loki show because he did such a fantastic job at the end of that season 1. We're like, yo, I would love to see this villain.
But as it started to progress, it felt like people did not care.
Yeah. Quantumania.
And so then it made it so that when the Jonathan Major stuff happened, it was easier for them to just be like, well, then fuck it. Like, why would we bother recasting this thing that it seems like people keep showing up less and less for anyways? When we could just, to your point, Alex, pull the ripcord and be like, fuck it, bring out RDJ again and pay him whatever he wants. And I think it's fun. I don't put any of the blame on him. Like, I don't think it was like Robert Downey Jr. needed another check.
No, for sure.
He won an Oscar for Oppenheimer. Why does he care?
I think Marvel was just like, we have a blank check, and he was like, if you're gonna fuck your shit up and pay me at the same time, then do your thing, time. Boo. Like, yeah.
But here's the thing, like, and that's why I think I'm torn on all of this, because like I do think maybe we were saved and they lost some momentum with Kang to Disney's own fault. Like, the thing that made Infinity War and stuff great is that Thanos was a baddie that actually like was a force to reckon with. You ended a movie where he wiped out half the people, right? So you had this awesome character in Loki that goes, oh, see you later. Like, you just started what I told you was coming, and you were too dumb, and you killed me anyway, so, like, see you soon, right? And the next thing we get is Kang the Conqueror, and you have to defeat him in a movie with Ant-Man. Like,
ants.
You could have...
Got defeated by
ants. You could have just let him be Kang the Conqueror and end the movie on a down note.
Yeah.
And say, dude, this guy he's a big bad. So I think they saved us in a cool character, like that they took the wrong way. Okay. But then when it comes to RDJ, sure, there's precedent for it. Sure, he's going to be great. But I also think there's other great actors that could have brought Doctor Doom to life that just wasn't RDJ that I would have liked to see. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's confusing. And I'm sure it's going to be it'll be a variant, and like we can do whatever we want, and maybe this isn't even the final Doctor Doom. Maybe there's another Doctor Doom, and like I get it, but just there are so many talented people that could make this better.
If they do this and it's like, oh yeah, this was our one-off thing, and now here's the new real Doctor Doom or something like that, I literally, my eyes will roll out of my head. Like and again, I'm not the target audience anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But I just see all this and I'm just like, oh my god, just fucking blow it out your ass, dude. Like, move on. Like, I still think that there's room for great superhero stuff to be told, right? Like, but it doesn't stop. It doesn't need to be every year anymore. It's okay.
And here's the problem with this one, Christian. Like, how do you get bad decisions is when you rush stuff, right?
Yeah.
So originally it was going to be a long bit of Kang, and then it was going to introduce the manipulator behind the scenes, which is Doctor Doom, and that would have been great. The two together would have been awesome. But now Doctor Doom takes Kang's replacement. Well, what's going to happen? You can't carry him out for 8 years. It's probably going to be Galactus, which means this big plan they had for Galactus way off in the distance is all of a sudden going to be like force-fed into everybody in a quick decision. How do we make Galactus fit with Doctor Doom? But
then here's the thing.
It's going to be
weird. At the end of the day, when you get to Galactus, right, and all of that happens, right, the dude who eats planets, and then
how do you go bigger?
He was already teased in the new trailer they showed for Fantastic Four at Comic-Con.
My point is like when that happens and then they ultimately everybody comes together and they deal with that threat and blah 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 blah. Where are we? Like, do you just go like, okay, now we're gonna reboot it again and you guys are gonna pay to see fucking Iron Man again, or like? Do you try to keep doing other stuff? Like, I don't know, man. It just feels like there's no forethought whatsoever in any of this shit.
You gotta go smaller. Like, you don't restart that. You do the Young Avengers and you start small again, and then you build up to another big bad. It's just.
But you had the Disney Plus problem. That's what you wanted to do between these phases. You wanted to go smaller. You came out with Hawkeye. Hawkeye was a great, fun show. It's like 8 episodes.
Loved it.
But it's too short, and then you dropped it. And then you did Miss Marvel. Great, fun show. And then you let it go. And then you had other shows that weren't great, or other shows you even canceled outright. And, like, that was the thing. You were supposed to have these small, condensed stories, and you needed all this content for Disney Plus. And what happened? They either were not good and rushed, or people did them for a while when they came out of COVID, needed something to work on, and people were buying stream content like crazy. And then you just dropped your content, said we're going to pull it back. And just,
what happened to... How are they going to deal with the fact that Kang just disappears himself now? Because again, and it's been a while since I've seen a Marvel movie. The last Marvel I saw with Preston, it was it had Kang's face, and he's like, oh, like look at how many of Kangs there are.
So it's confusing. It's confusing. First of all, supposedly people think the Anchor Kang is the crazy like inventor one in Loki that died in season 2. And then Kang the Conqueror, you killed in Quantumania. And now, if you're going to do something that is going to heal the multiverse, which you started to kind of do, then they're all going to be trapped wherever they are, and it won't come to fruition. And, like, Kang the Conqueror that's going around killing the other kings and becoming more popular already died in Quantumania. So, like, you kind of quietly wrote yourself out of the problem without addressing it. And they'll probably address it in the next movie really quickly.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
We'll see. I know it seems weird. It's just I'm so frustrated because I think that initial run from Iron Man 1 to Endgame should be studied in school. Like, it is incredible. Like, and I mean, even there are movies in there that aren't good or that I don't like, whatever, right? But like in general, starting from Iron Man 1 to get all the way to Endgame over 10 years and have it have it this build that gets there and all these things is one of the most, if not the most masterfully done things in film ever. Even if it's something that I think has ruined a lot of movie-going experiences, it really does, like, it's shocking how well they were able to pull it off to a point where even the movies that people deem as like stinkers or whatever still made $1 bazillion, and then the movie, whatever film would come right after that, would make even more money. Like, it would just keep going. Like, it never had a downturn where people were like, oh man, is Marvel done? It never happened. It was just a rocket ship that never stopped going up. And now instead they're like, well, instead of just like letting a good thing be good and going, okay, we did this, we created our own blueprint for success, we should just take this amount of time again. And yes, it will take a long time again, but that's what worked last time, so it should work again. And instead they were like, no, put more fuel in, we got to keep the rocket ship going. And it's just like, dude, I don't...
4 movies a year.
Yeah,
but
man.
But that's what they're doing, right? They brought back in the Russo brothers, so I have a feeling eventually down the road this will be looked at like comics, where like that first one was kind of the golden age, dark period there in the middle. Now we're getting back to other, and we'll see.
A little too much high on the high horse, and they got to get knocked down a peg.
For me, the thing that I'm most disappointed about, this is so dumb. I usually do a pretty good job at separating actors from their outside life, much like I do with politicians and other stuff, right? Like, if it doesn't directly affect what I'm engaging with, like, I typically say, you do you. I get it. If they're a super shitty person, then they shouldn't be on screen. With that being said, the way they played Kang, like the man at the end of time in Loki, Jonathan Majors was super dynamic, and I've seen him in other roles, from like the Lovecraftian show he did on HBO, and then like in Lovecraft Country, and then the Apollo. Like, he is a dynamic actor. He does a lot of different stuff really well. But like that man in Loki, and then to see him in that full get up in the blue and the purple and stuff as King the Conqueror was just a really fun thing to see on film.
It was.
And it was like, we got the worst version of it, and now it'll be swept under the rug. And that sucks.
Well, and to be fair, it sounds like, based on your thing, it was just going to get worse from there anyway.
To be fair...
Maybe.
Marvel recasts, they will always be able to recast. I don't think they should ever hold back from recasting. I mean, Harrison Ford is playing General Ross, who's been played by a different actor the entire MCU. Like, that dude who was like the mustache talking about the Accords in Civil War. I mean, that's who Harrison Ford is playing in the next movie. So it's... You could easily do it. You always do the one joke of like saying like get over it or get used to it kind of thing. You got to pull that one joke in, just like, yes, we are aware, we know. But these are comic books. These are superheroes. You're going to want to do them for tens of years, and those actors aren't going to be able to do that role forever. That's just not how aging works. So you have to have it, unless you're doing CG. You have to have it to where you should be allowed to change your actors.
I think they should have come out and recasted it immediately, and because of the fact they didn't, I think they tainted Kang for a number of years.
We're letting him go, but we're still going to replace him with someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to say we appreciate what he's done for Kang so far, but they should have done something different.
But if they do, like, but here's the thing. I don't know that unless they do like a full reboot, but if they go the full Doctor Doom route, and you guys are saying that Doctor Doom is the person who's supposed to be behind the scenes, making everything dance or whatever, then how do you go backwards then to Kang?
You could flip it. I mean, Kang the Conqueror is a time traveler, right? Like, he's a smart dude, and he's a time traveler. You could always
have one of his 100 variants actually be a different type, or like, you thought that was Kang the Conqueror. Well, he actually took my moniker. I'm the true. Yeah. They did that with the Mandarin. Is that what he's called? They did that in Iron Man 3. And he ended up being
the Mandarin.
The Mandarin, and he ended up being just and he ended up being just an actor.
Know what the fuck you Mandarin. I was like, well,
I messed up that name. But he ended up being an actor, and then like in the after credits scene, like someone shows up in jail with him, and like, I don't like using my name. And then in Shang-Chi, we got the actual character there of their own version, but that was the new character. So you could easily just do something like that, but like, actually, we meant to do this way all along.
To be fair, that was. Making him off to be the actor
was fantastic.
And
the whole trailer was like, it's him. He's here. He looks evil. And then he's a British, just funny guy. That was great.
It was funny, but also like the laziest thing for them to do, to be like, no, funny. Really, like, Shang-Chi needs him, so we need to bring him this way, and that's what we're going to do. But yeah, I agree with Preston. Like, I think that's what they do. I think maybe you flip it, and the time traveler is like, how could he be King the Conqueror? He got stuck in the quantum realm, couldn't even get out of that. Like,
I was conquering while he was in there.
I've killed XYZ amount of people, you know.
It can be done. Marvel, Kevin Feige, hit me up.
I'm excited. I'm excited about the Russo brothers. I guess like maybe
They're
our quality
good.
will get back
They
to
make
being
good
better.
work.
I feel bad that like the Russos and James Gunn and Hugh Jackman, like they will be tied to these roles. And RDJ, like you are now locked to these franchises for the rest of your life. Like,
Hey, I've seen The Greatest Showsman. He's done other things. Okay.
I love Hugh Jackman. He's
Maybe they'll come
fantastic
out
in a
here.
lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in great stuff. But. So, yeah, I don't know. It was just
I'm
cool. I
excited.
think,
I'm excited for Alien Romulus.
Yeah.
I think Preston.
Always.
I think Preston and I probably reflect what a lot of people are thinking of. Cool. It was a lazy way to do. We would have liked to see other Doctor Dooms, but at least you brought in established people that can maybe salvage what was probably going south.
Hey.
Without those people at the front.
I will
We'll see.
always give him a chance. Show me the trailer. If it seems somewhat interesting,
will.
I will.
We watched Madam Web, so we'll
I
watch
will
it
buy the
regardless.
Ticket. Yes, I will buy the ticket.
Yeah.
And I'll take the ride.
We'll watch it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I saw it when he pulled his thing off, and I just said, "Man," I was like, "They are at the end of their rope." Like I just was like, clearly,
That's what it
like,
looks
you
like
are-
on paper. That's when you pull in the Russos, when you pull in RDJ, you're like, you guys are really trying to get something going here. Like you're trying to like pull back on some to get to something.
Oh, that's the ripcord.
yeah.
There's no like
Yeah.
real coming back from it.
They
Like,
burn the glass.
and I think I said that in our first original text, which was, you don't get to pull this again.
Nope.
That is the e-brake.
That's
Like,
that's your backup shoot. There's no second backup shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
yeah. So, interesting. Oh wait, Christian, to your point, I too am excited about Alien Romulus because it
Yes.
actually looks like one of the scariest
Scary. It's
alien
fucking
movies in
frightening.
a long time.
It finally looks like we're getting back to fucking Alien being good again, and I'm so jaded, so I don't want to be
Christian-
excited.
We'll report
Christian
back.
is the secret. Christian is the secret Black Hat MAGA, which is make Alien great again.
Yeah.
Black and green.
We're gonna
Yeah.
go see the movie. I'm gonna buy him the popcorn tin because of course they made an alien popcorn tin.
No, did they? I didn't even
Yeah,
see
it's
that.
just the fucking head. It's just a giant head.
Oh god, yeah. I'm of the opinion that, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. Maybe it is, but Alien 1 and 2 are perfect films. I think
They're great.
I would not change a single thing about them. I think even more so than being like a thriller or whatever, I think they are perfect movies. Like they do a great job doing everything they set out to do, and they do it in a way that everything just feels great about it, and those worlds just feel so built and lived in, and everything. It's great. And then 3 is okay. Up until Covenant, I would have said 4 is the worst thing that has ever happened to that franchise.
Covenant was pretty
Oh,
bad.
wasn't Resurrection pretty bad?
Yeah, that's why I said it's, again, I'm getting
until,
there, but
yeah.
up until, so I would have said 4 was the worst thing that has ever happened, and then there was Prometheus, which I thought was unnecessary, but there was the saving grace that I can give it is that there was at least interesting things that it puts out there. It
They
doesn't
nailed the
solve,
Lovecraftian horror too.
yeah,
Like the
it
ship
doesn't. It
and
doesn't.
the
It doesn't
creator.
actually make good on any of those things. But there is at least initial interesting questions, things that it puts out there that you're like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then up until then, I would have said that, yeah, that was the worst. But then Covenant came out, and I have never had a movie make me feel like something looked at me and was like, "You are stupid for liking this franchise, and we hate you." Like that's how I was like, I got laughed at for an hour and 45 minutes being like, you are stupid for liking Alien, and we got $20 from you to come see this dumbass movie. Congratulations. It is, so the fact that Romulus looks like as good as it does, I'm so hopeful. I want it to be great.
Trailers are nailing
so,
the tone,
so bad.
so yeah, we'll see.
Oh, dude. From just the tone trailers
Yeah, the tone
specifically,
trailers are fantastic.
fucking find a way to
quiet,
grind
yeah.
that up and inject it into my veins because it is incredible.
So, but this is also the first one that's like not Ridley. Well, not the first one, but Covenant and Prometheus were done by Ridley Scott, right? But this one's not. So, is it? I wonder if it's the fact we got some like new blood in there.
I think you need that because I think people
You need the fans
don't,
to make that.
I think that the problem is that thing like Alien and then Aliens, even though it was different people, right? Because Aliens, I think, was James Cameron. I think the problem is that how people were when those movies came out versus people are now are two different things, and so like. With Prometheus and Covenant, it felt the need to try. Well, I don't even want to talk about it, but for Prometheus, it felt like it needed. They were like, no, we have to go back and explore the lore of the alien and like figure out where everything came from, and we need to create a universe around this. And it was like, I don't give a fuck. No one cares. Like no one was asking these questions. And I had an argument with somebody the other day about this because they were like really into that stuff at first. And I said, when you finished watching Alien, I was like, I won't even bring up Aliens, but I was like, when you finished watching Alien, did you walk out of that theater being like, that was a good movie, but I wish I knew more? Like, I wish I had other questions answered.
Can I answer that question for you?
Sure.
So, like, I agree it's not needed. But if you want to give me the lore, what would really interest me is this entire Lovecraftian planet of just these savage creatures that probably terrorize whoever lived there. Like, to actually go where they originated from, I would be down for that.
Sure.
Versus, like, these weird creator things that were, like, terraforming planets.
But that's the thing, is that any single time, not every single time, most of the time, when a franchise tries to go backwards and give you, like, explanations about every single thing, it always is way dumber than what you had in your head. Part of the reason that Alien is a thriller and is terrifying is because you don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, it is this crazy-ass alien that is a murder machine, and even when it gets hurt, it still finds ways to kill you and ruin the entire environment around it. It has acids, everything.
Even his little babies.
Yes, like everything, right? Like everything about it is meant to murder you, and so it's just, I need to get the fuck off this goddamn ship and get the fuck out of here because there's this thing, and that's what makes the movie great. And and everybody acts it does the thing, and it works perfectly. And again, I will say, I would challenge anybody that if you there's no way that you left that original movie being like, I just wish they would have spent more time building up the lore around this thing. No, you were like, that fucking movie ruled, and that thing looked sick. And Sigourney Weaver acted her ass off.
Did you guys catch in the new trailer what I thought looked to be the most interesting scene? Because it all looks good. But there's a scene where they're quickly flashing, and there's like no real music playing. It's supposed to be that scary, like, vastness of space.
Yeah.
Where clearly something has broken into the ship and the gravity is gone and they're all floating, but the alien's been cut and its acid blood is floating, and you see one person just like trying to like move away from it as that acid's just slowly moving to them. Looks so good.
And again, thank you, because that scene is incredible. It does look great. But when you look at that, did you go like, man, I just wish that I would have been able to connect with this scene more if I knew where the alien came from? The answer is no. Now, again, I'm not saying that I don't. Sometimes that stuff can be cool, and but it has to be handled with care and not get overly. Like, the problem with Prometheus is that it answers some questions that nobody had ever asked before, and it introduces way more questions that it asked that nobody ever gave a fuck about. And so then you come away from that movie being like, what happened? Like, I think I came away with some information, but I went into a movie theater thinking that I know what was going on, and I left more confused than I went into it. And then that's why I said that I think Prometheus its saving grace is that it introduces some things that are at least semi-interesting. And so you're like, if they pull at that thread, maybe that could be cool. But there's still some reveals that they did that you were like, no, that's less cool than I would have wanted. And again, it's like, you know what you could have done? Just not done this in the first place. Like, when you do that, you run the risk of disappointing half, maybe more, whatever, certain people. When you don't do that and you just do good things, you run the risk of disappointing 0 people.
But money.
Yeah,
But if we
you know what makes money?
This stuff out every year.
You know what makes money?
Money.
Good stuff. And Alien Romulus will make more money than fucking Prometheus and Covenant combined.
Yeah, Romulus looked good.
Yeah, I'm excited. Anyway, that was my Alien rant
your
for.
week.
Yeah, that was my week.
Okay. Well, I'll go into my week since I got the game this week. Not really a whole lot to touch on. Still playing a little bit of Nine Souls and Zenless Zone Zero. I am at the boss in Nine Souls. That boss beat me about a dozen times the one night I played it. We'll get there when we get there. So just know that I'm there. It's almost finished. Zenless Zone Zero, still a great game. Having a lot of fun with it. I don't want to go into that too much more. I will go ahead and touch on some things I've watched. So House of the Dragon Season 2 finished up. Season 2 has been great. Season 1, I was kind of like, this is all right. But Season 2 ramped it the fuck up. I am very curious to hear like what you think about a certain character at the last episode of the season. So we can talk about that off air because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But there's a character who his mind is playing games with them. And there's a turn at the very last episode.
Due to incest?
No,
sickness?
not. I don't. Well, hey, who knows? They don't have scientists there or doctors to let us know about that. But possibly, who knows? But yeah, no. There's something I want to talk to you about that after the show, if I remember, Alex. But yeah,
Okay.
House of the Dragon is great. Hey, guess what? If you watch a show that says House of the Dragon, you want to see a lot of dragons. You gotta see some dragons in season 1. You get to see a fuck ton of dragons in season 2. It's great. It's been fantastic.
Can I ask you guys a question, a non-spoiler question about House of Dragons?
Sure.
Uh-huh.
What is the incest ratio for this season compared
Not
to
as
last
much
season?
as you would
So,
think.
so it's not. Yeah, there's no like sex or anything. With that being said, I mean Damon is married to his sister. I'm sorry. Yeah, his sister.
I
No.
heard somebody
Cousin?
does
his
something with
niece.
their mother.
His
this
niece.
season.
I'm sorry.
His niece is right,
his
yeah.
niece. His niece.
Yeah, I heard somebody does
mother-
something with their mother this
It's
season.
that's a dream fantasy. Like it's somebody's manipulating their brain, so it's not like it actually happened, and it doesn't really show anything. It's his
That's
mother
still
turns
some
around and
freak
is like,
shit.
"You're my favorite son." So I saw a funny meme you would have appreciated, Christian. I was going to send it to you and didn't, but it was Elden Ring, and it showed Elden Ring, and it says George R.R. Martin comes out of retirement to add lore to the DLC. Then it shows a picture of him smiling. It says adds incest and dips.
Yeah, I know. Did I sent you guys the original thing where it was somebody had calculated like the mutation fucking coefficient of like
Yeah.
in real life, like the Habsburgs, like their incest, like the Spanish line, and then showed what they were like. Okay, so we'll use the same math and we'll do it for the Targaryens or whatever. And it was like Daenerys would have lived for like 0.5 seconds. Like as soon as oxygen would have touched her lung, she would have combusted. Like, or it would. It was like showing like whoever, like the most recent like Habsburg, like whoever, like that where the line ended, and it was like Charles, where he had like the jaw
Huge
and like
chin,
couldn't
yeah.
shoot anything, and was like couldn't see, was blind, and all this other stuff, and then it showed Daenerys, and it was like she was like 8 times as worse as he was, and it was like, dude, oh god.
It doesn't bother me in this fantasy world because like it is based a lot off of the British monarchy and the Spanish and the Germans. Like them's facts, man. Like they intermarry all the time.
Yeah,
It is
except
what
that
it is.
but they're glossing over one part of that fact that made it so that
Genetic mutation.
those lines
Yes.
had an expiration date and it came
Yeah.
quick.
Yes, you're not wrong. But like they do a good job. This series is not as sexually graphic or nudity wise as
yeah.
Game of Thrones. There's like
100%, yeah.
rarely any. Maybe a couple
They went
episodes
to
there's
a
no nudity. That was
brothel once in this season. I think that is the only like nudity you see the entire
Yeah.
season.
So it's definitely cleaner than the other show was.
I think they want to make it more accessible to people. Like we don't need to have titties and dicks flying around. You can just watch a normal show. It's fine.
yeah.
Normal show.
Also, My Hero Academia is back from their Olympic break. They really just want to like let you know that we could kill your favorite character at any moment. don't forget that. Just like they're always putting, for my instance, it's Mirko is always sitting there like on the precipice of fucking death, like every other episode this season.
So far, though, I don't know how.
Did you watch this last week?
I have not watched this last week, but I'm just saying. So far,
she's fucking cool, man. She is so damn cool. But I thought
she's great.
I thought she was done. Again, this is like the third time this season I thought she was done. I'm like, fuck.
The reason that I was saying is I usually have pretty good faith is that so far, if you really think of as far as heroes are concerned, and heroes that we care about, only one has died.
You should watch this week's episode.
Okay. Either way, again, there have been more heroes that have died. Like there's like a bunch of B list or whatever.
But also she is like what they call it, like the top 5 or whatever it was, like the most powerful or predominant heroes they had at one point. They had a top 5, and then she.
But there was like one that happened at the beginning of the season that they die.
Oh sure.
But then, but other than that, either some characters like, Lemillion's a great example of somebody who. They were like, oh, his powers were stripped, and then it didn't happen, and then it was like, oh, well, now, like, you had Eraserhead, and it's like, oh, well, no, he's fine. It's just, he's a little, it takes him a little bit longer to get places now, or like, whatever, right? There's those things. And I'm sure that there's going to be people, I am able to keep a little bit more faith when I'm like, okay, are you actually dead, or...
But they're this really important character. Are you really going to kill him?
Yeah,
are they one of those characters where she's like she's just very cool. She doesn't have really any plot devices keeping her in the show,
which is fair.
So at any moment they could just be like, "We want to pull in your heartstrings a little bit. You like that character? Yeah, they're gone." So
we'll see.
I'm hoping they don't do that.
I will say though, it ended officially. The manga ended.
Manga just ended. I was going to mention that.
Yeah, and people were pissed. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
The writer made a comment the other day, the creator, and said, "Now that the show's done, I'll be honest, I'm just really lonely." It's just what he said. He's like, all these characters lived with me and lived in my brain for so long, and like it's done now. I'm lonely. It's like, oh.
Hey, dude, look, man, that kind of stuff. So, and look, I don't know what the ending is. I'm not going to look it up.
I don't know either, yeah.
But I know that there's people who are upset about it, are upset about how it ended. Look, man, fucking, just like making games, writing's hard, right?
Especially when you go that long.
Writing endings is even harder, which is why you see like typical shonens. Look at fucking One Piece. It's fucking 1,800 episodes long now, and you want to know why? It's because that motherfucker doesn't. He's not ready, and he's probably went through 100 different versions of how this story could end, and every single time when he pitches it somewhere, someone's probably like, "That sucks. Don't do that." And so
you can see how hard it is to end a show or end a series in general. Look at comics in America.
Oh yeah,
Batman's never ended. You just reboot it because if you
new number one.
How would you end Bruce Wayne that would make anybody happy?
Well, they've done it before plenty of times, and the whole thing is we just gotta go back because people like Bruce Wayne.
Right. So so the thing with manga, I appreciate they end it, but you would almost anticipate people would be angry because there are hundreds of issues. Like how are you ever going to satisfy people?
It pisses me off is probably strong. I am a person who prefers. Even if it's to its detriment, I prefer when something ends and something new can begin.
Sure.
Like, that's why I'm a massive Batman Beyond fan. I think that show fucking ruled, and it was great to see a Bruce Wayne that was just some old, angry dude who is coaching Terry to go through and be the new thing and do this new stuff, and they're introducing new villains, doing these things. It was nice. And it felt fresh. That's somebody who likes Batman, but I'm just saying, like, it I don't know, man.
But you're talking about the show. They still do comics.
Sure,
I just mean for Batman Beyond.
I'm just saying.
It's not done.
I'm just using that as an example, but yeah, in general, I'm just saying, like, I like when things end and a new thing can begin. That's why I fucking hate when now everything has to be a cinematic universe and a new franchise and everything like that. When
they want to make the money.
It's the problem with the bear, man. Like.
Should just stop.
Sometimes you go too long. Because, and again, my problem. And again, I'm not. This is not a detriment to the bear, but everybody can agree that people liked season 3 less than they liked season 1, and
it's still like a 94% positive.
Sure,
yes, people.
But my point is that it's hard to end things sometimes, and so when you do manage to pull it off, Let it be perfect.
But I will say this, Preston. You say go write another show. Like, again, writing is hard. Like, the only people that write multiple shows at scale is like Dick Wolf, who just does like SVU, like Law and Order, blah blah blah, and like CSI and 70,
which is really just the same show.
You know that, but that's the point, right? Because like writing a real unique show is a flash in a pan. To get lucky on The Bear, do you think the person who wrote The Bear goes, people are this is gonna be one of the best shows on TV? Like, there's no way. He got lucky. It was like, oh shit, and wrote it for one season, and they go, hey, but how about all this money? And he's like, well, I guess I can make it work.
I
right?
know.
Like,
and again, I'm not faulting the people who go through that. I'm just saying that it, and it's. I know that it's not that person's fault, and that it's all on the executives. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying that like, it's unfortunate that we live in this kind of consumer thing for art when it's just like, you could just let this be perfect. Like, it is be so much easier if you just went like, and if you told shorter, more condensed stories, then you wouldn't have to worry about this giant ending, perfect ending that you have to build up. I mean, dude, it's the fucking same thing that Game of Thrones is going through. George R.R. Martin is never going to finish that goddamn book. Ever. He's never going to finish it.
We were talking about that today. Allie wants to reread it, and she's like, I can't read the book. She's never read it. She's only watched it. She's like, I want to read it, but like, I can't read it knowing that I may never get it.
Yeah, dude, but because you spent so long, and like there was some interview he did where, and I'm not even mad at him for this. I know some people like are really angry at him for it or whatever, but it's like, I saw an interview the other day where he was like, I know people don't think that I'm working on it, but I'm working on it all the fucking time. I just went through like 7 different drafts of it and yada, yada, yada. And I wanted to add more things here and do this more here, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, dude, because you fucked yourself. Like, you've went on for so long and done so many things that your ending, no matter what, people are going to be pissed. Mm-hmm. Because you've made it go for so long. And so now you're trying to mitigate the damage by having all these different moving pieces. But guess what? If that book comes out and it's this goddamn big, everyone's going to be like, oh, okay, I guess. And they're going to get through it.
If I'm him, what I do is I actually do the ending that was done in the show, but flesh it out longer, give more chapters and let it breathe. And that way you can go, well, the ending was always there, guys. Just look at these dickheads that ruined it and made it too fast. It's their fault you hated the show. And it's like a decent little cop-out for you. And then you don't have to stress too much on what the ending is.
I ship that fucking book. I sell my phone. I delete every single piece of social media. I take all of my money and I go build a compound in the mountains. And I hire a single sniper to watch my 3-mile-long driveway. And if anybody comes in it that I have not been guaranteed, they get shot at. And I retire and I live the rest of my days by myself away from all of you fucking freaks.
With your sniper friend.
Yeah.
And his wife.
And my regular friends. My regular friends can come hang out. But as soon as it's like, oh, we found out where George R.R. Martin lives and we're going to fucking send a bomb to... Oh, you're getting sniped. Don't come near my house.
Yeah. He is married, too. I would assume, allegedly, because I don't actually know, it's probably somebody in his family tree based on how much he writes about that, but it may not be.
Delete all of your social media, leave, go retire, and be happy, and never look at an internet comment section ever again.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, I did forget to mention that I did see the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. I don't want to talk about it too much because it's pretty much just full of fucking spoilers. If you haven't already been spoiled by the internet, which I'm sure you guys have to a certain degree. But it was nice. It was good. It was what I expected it to be, which is a dumb, fun movie. Made me laugh a whole bunch. It does not write any ships for the Marvel Universe at all. I was kind of hoping that maybe there'd be something there because they got the TVA in the trailer. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe they do something to kind of change some things. They don't. This is 1,000% a nod or like a goodbye to like the Fox superhero movies. It's been like, hey, we bought all of them. We're not going to do anything with those exact actors and characters, but maybe you get like one little send off. So it's nice that that's there. But yeah, other than that, very fun, very funny movie. If you're worried about spoilers and you've lasted this long, you should probably go see the movie because the internet's just going to be full of it. So stay away from the internet.
Yeah, I've already seen stuff on the internet.
Yeah, no, you're going to. You're going to 1,000% see something on the internet. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much my week. Not a whole lot. 2 days.
Okay. I'll pick up where you left off. We also saw Deadpool Wolverine. Yeah, it is just fan service the whole time, and it works, right? It's just like laugh at these jokes and look at all these great cameos, and it works, right? It wasn't meant to be too much more than that. I absolutely loved the cameos they did.
Yes.
They were fantastic, and like there were some where you hear the internet rumblings and the rumors, and like you anticipate, is it Blake Lively? Is it Taylor Swift? Well, they never show you, which I thought was great. You just see it in the credits on who played the Lady Deadpool and stuff, right? But like you anticipate some things.
I was
like
blown away.
I knew
by
about
a couple of them.
Welshpool.
There's no way I would have ever guessed some of those.
There's 4 in the middle of the movie that pop up, and I go, oh, like I was in the movie and I go,
holy
oh my God.
shit.
And they were too professional.
This one is, I'm not going to spoil it, but this one is known because of Wrexham.
Yes.
Were you able to spot Rob McElhenney?
I did not.
No, I spotted Paul Mullen as Welshpool, which they made a big thing of, and I did not see Rob McElhenney. Somebody told me where he was, but I didn't notice.
Yeah, I know he's in there because of the show. They that part was spoiled, but or not spoiled, but they let that go ahead of time because of Wrexham. So
they did the Paul Mullen one too. They changed his profile picture on the team site to where he's wearing the Deadpool outfit but with the Welsh flag across it. So he's Welshpool, and then when he's in the movie, because we know there's like Deadpool variants, Welshpool comes walking out, and like he doesn't take off the mask or anything. But again, like if you knew from the roster,
a lot of those like Deadpools are like they don't take off the mask. You can see them in the credits, and they maybe have a line, but not usually.
There was one that had two that had lines that I couldn't place when they were talking, and then I looked at the credits and just laughed. I was like, "That's hilarious!" Yeah. Like those are perfect picks. But yeah, the 4 cameos in the middle were complete shocks to me, and were like absolutely perfect. So yeah, it was I wouldn't say harmless because it was very violent and a lot of F words, so I wouldn't recommend it to all kids, but it was very funny and complete fan service to everybody, and it justified itself in the way of just like, let's go have fun and not take
let's
comics
go make
too
a
seriously
good movie.
again. Yeah, like let's go have fun and not make it too serious.
Yeah, crazy.
There is one part that's pretty popular with the Wolverine variants that people are talking about, and there's a couple in there that were also chef's kiss, so well done and so funny, and it was good. It's a good movie.
Yeah, good movie.
Anyway, yeah, I saw that. We already talked about Berserk. I started reading that one. I'm going to continue to read that, and try and finish up the show here on Crunchyroll, and then otherwise, I've only played Yakuza. I think that's it because it's all we've had time to play in the last 2 days, and then what we're going to talk about today. There's one comment that I want to make. I saw somebody in our family had added mini games to the library recently, a couple of like tabletop RPGs and other stuff. There was one game in specific I want to call out. If I hear that anyone is playing Munchkin without inviting me, I will be pissed.
Yeah, no. That was just because. So I added all of those, and people can feel that. Yeah, it just came from a humble bundle. So
have you guys played Munchkin?
No,
I've heard.
I've only played Dune Imperium.
It is a card game that Travis and I, like Travis has brought over, and we've played here with like Allie and his girlfriend and stuff. And it's this fantastic game. It's very simple. You're a hero, and there's 10 levels, and each level on the board is just a room. And you roll the dice. Essentially, it's like I walk up to the room and I can decide, do I go in and loot the room, or do I fight? And what's fun about it is you can use your skills and abilities to fight monsters that may be in the other room, because if you win, you get to actually move up, and it's the first person to get through all 10 levels that wins. Very basic. But where the fun comes in is I can look over and say, hey, Christian, I have XYZ gear that I'm willing to trade you if you would care to come help me defeat this monster. Or maybe, like, if we defeat this monster, we get 4 pieces of treasure, I'll give you 1, and I'll take 3, so it'll help you along your path. But Preston could go, F that. I won't take any pieces of treasure as long as you're willing to come help me the next time I do it. So, like, it gets to be this fun little, like, backstabby, who's going to work together, who's not, to get up to the top. And then when a couple people are there at the top, like, who is going to randomly turn on the other person. But the games are quick. It's very easy. We should all play that in a game
Yeah,
night.
that'd be
Bring
fun.
on Travis, bring on Jake. Like, it's funny, and
Yeah.
it's really fun to play.
Yeah. The best part about that is that we all know exactly who will turn on people, and it's you.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you mentioned
And-
me, but I'm like,
and
we know
you.
it's you. We know it's you.
It'll be Travis too. Travis will
Travis
turn.
is coy
so,
about that kind of thing, yeah.
so Travis will get shaky trigger fingers. He'll want to be
starts
like
smiling.
strong, but he'll look at me and be like, "You're gonna turn on me," and he'll play it in his head that will turn on him first. So then he'll just preemptively turn on you, and then justify it and be like, "You would have done it to me." So yeah, it would be fun. And Jake's a wild card
Oh, yeah.
because he's always the
Can't
dungeon
read
master.
him. Yeah.
He'd
Yeah.
be brutal. So that's really my week. Yakuza, I saw those games added. We should definitely play that sometime, though. It'd be fun.
Cool.
All right.
All right, Preston.
Yeah.
That's you, fam.
Gonna go into this message. We'll be right back with your Review Game Book Club. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Comic Headquarters. If you are looking for a trade paperback or hardcover, the guys over at Comic Headquarters can help. Even if they don't have what you're looking for, they'll offer to order it in for you. Visit comichqstl.com today, where you can contact them and order that trade paperback or hardcover that you've been looking for. Or give them a call at 314-433-5449. Let them know that the testing room sent you, and you can get 10% off your order. All right, so Video Game Book Club, we are starting a new one. This will be Hitman 2016, if you will. It's got a lot of different names. As you notice when you boot up the game, it also calls itself Hitman 3.
It also calls it the World of Assassination.
It's also called the World of Assassination.
And it imports from 2, so I was very confused where this
So-
falls in
It
the
can,
timeline.
yeah.
It's a kind of a little bit of a trip. So Square Enix helped publish the first game with IO Interactive. They've made a bunch of Hitmans before that. In fact, they were going to get taken off the Hitman franchise right before this one, but they convinced them to let them do this as like a reboot type of deal. Luckily for them, it worked out very well. So in 2016, we got Hitman, essentially our reboot. But what happened was that this one came out, it was episodic. They were going to do season 2. But before season 2 hit, because this Hitman 1 wasn't like a commercial success. Like, people loved it, but like it didn't do the money Square Enix wanted. So they were actually getting rid of IO. But IO got their independence with that, and with that, they also purchased the Hitman license from Square Enix.
Which, by the way, shows how much money this franchise could
Yeah.
actually make.
Yeah.
And that Square Enix was fucking
Oh yeah,
psychotic.
well, we know how they were. They did the same thing with Tomb Raider and all that bullshit. So yeah, they're numbers.
But Hitman actually made a fuck ton of money.
Yeah. So they ended up doing like season 2, which was called Hitman 2. And that one was not episodic. They just kind of released it all at once. They had additional stuff that happened with it. And then Hitman 3.
People missed the episodic intro.
And then they did Hitman 3. And then after they've done Hitman 3, they decided that they were going to say, hey, if you bought Hitman 3, you also got 1 and 2 bundled in with it. So after the bundling in, they now decided to change it to call it Hitman World of Assassination, which has seasons 1 through 3, Hitman 1 through 3, whatever you want to call it. So we are playing just Hitman 1, or Hitman Season 1, if you will, the pack. That is going to be 6 levels, missions, episodes, not including the training levels, which I totally forgot about when we talked about what we're playing for the week. So today we'll be doing the first, it's like 2 training levels, and then Paris. And then after that, I'll kind of let you know what levels we're going to do next afterwards. But yeah, this is the 6th Hitman game. This one came out like PS4, Xbox One era. In January 2023, Hitman 3 became World of Assassination, collecting all 3. And yeah, we'll go from there. The first couple...
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So, collecting all 3.
So
this
Hitman
is-
3 in 2023 decided they were going to pull in the season 1 and 2, and then they took...
Which was like Hitman 1 and Hitman 2, but they were
and then they
seasons.
pulled those off of the store and then brought them into 3 and said, hey, if you own 3, you own the rest of them. Because we're just going to drop them in.
So that's very complicated, but that makes
It
sense
is.
then. In this one, we are given a quick trailer of our past escapades.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it's pulling from.
So no,
that's pulling
so
from,
past
like,
escapades are like Absolution and stuff like
Blood
that.
Money, like all sorts of stuff like
Because
that.
they made those games, but
Yeah.
they're not. They're loosely tied to it. There's like it's his history of assassinations.
There's also an infrastructure problem here where before these were like really tied to the Epic Game Store, and then they started coming to Steam. And so when 3 came to Steam, it was like, well, we can't just like go back and do all this stuff, and it's going to be weird with save datas and how Epic handles like getting your save data and moving it over to a Steam thing, because people didn't want to lose any of their save data because they did a seasonal model. And so it was like, well, if you just buy 3, we'll give you access to everything, and then you have to import your save within the first month of owning it. Like, it was a whole fucking thing.
Yeah,
that
it's a whole
they had
mess.
to do,
They're like,
but-
you know what? Just Hitman 3. You have everything. Go ahead.
But they showed. But I guess where I'm getting to is like, there's
The
a scene where it
montage?
shows you like, the montage where he's drowning somebody.
so-
like, where does that stuff come
So
from?
that is going to happen within these games. So it's not in the games, but like it's so when we do the prologue, the training missions, right? That's you training to get your to be into agency. That is 20 years before Paris, from what I understand. Because right when you start the game, it says 20 years beforehand, and that's you going in there, you getting your agent name, and then you go off, and then that's supposed to be a flashback of you doing your own thing while you're waiting for them to give you a call, essentially, to work for the agency. So you're still an assassin. You're still just doing jobs. And this is supposed to be like, hey, we're calling you in for Paris, I think. from what I
Just a
understand.
side note.
It's not very well
If we're just a side note, doing your own thing, waiting for a call, like doing your own thing.
Well, it's not-
That's no. Let me just say this. That's not you being an assassin.
Well, he's
That's
assassin
you being
before
a
he got
serial
called.
killer. You are just
No,
murdering
you're not
do
doing
jobs.
that. What impressed me is that you're taking jobs from people. Just
Yes,
random-
like he was
random
beforehand.
jobs.
She's like, oh, you go in low,
Okay.
just continue doing what you're doing. We'll call you when we're ready. That's what
Okay.
essentially happened.
Yeah, because to me that's not like an assassin. That is just being a murderer. But whatever.
Yeah.
No,
Sure.
before he was being a hitman, and now
Yes,
he's
correct.
an assassin.
And now he's an
for
assassin.
people.
Sure.
Okay. I got it.
All
Got
right.
it. Got it.
So yeah, the
That's
prologue
hilarious.
starts at a secret base. I think when I looked up on the wiki, it said that Greenland, a secret international contract agency recruitment base. So the ICA. Diana Burnwood, who's been the kind of like handler for most of these games, from what I hear, she is recruiting 47. And then after we do some training simulations and assassinations that are done in the past, the first one is like a guided walkthrough. It's kind of boat. And then the second attempt kind of leaves it up to you. So the first one has you going in there. You're walking up to the boat. What you're doing is you're kind of getting a readout, kind of listening in. They're kind of just giving you kind of a tutorial on how things are going to go. And then they essentially have you do it a certain way. So you're kind of crawling up there. You're listening to him discuss some things. You ended up killing that guy and getting out. She's like, okay, this time I want you to take it and just do it a little differently. Do it your kind of own way. This is how I want to kind of break down these levels for us. I think if you have a different way or you're thinking about it, let me know. But I'm going to kind of go over maybe what I did within the level, and then I want your guys' takes because there's so many different permeations on how you could take down some of these levels. It's insane. And in fact, today, like when I was kind of sitting down doing my laundry and kind of messing around, I pulled up like an hour and a half video of like all the different things you could have done in Paris. And it's just a bunch of different runs of him filling out all the challenges. And I didn't get
Well, because remember, it was episodic, right? So you had Paris, and then it was
that's
like...
you had the
I had
training, these
Paris
training
for a
missions in
fucking-
Paris, and then it's like
for a few months until
So
2.
what happened was those are all between like a month, so most for the most part. So Paris and the training missions came out in March. In April, you got Sapienza, and then a month later, you got Marrakesh. It skipped a couple months after that. They had like a bonus level or something like that within there as well, which are like variations of Marrakesh and Sapienza, but with different objectives, different assassinations. And then you had Bangkok that came out like 3 months later, and then after that, it was like month to month. So Bangkok, Colorado, Hokkaido, which would be the last of season 1. So yeah, you had a month to sit there, play it, figure out different ways of doing it, discuss it with your friends, have fun, more like a TV series kind of deal, which I thought was a great idea.
I'm glad you explained that because now I don't feel the need to see that like 47 image challenge log and redo it to complete the challenges. Like I don't care. I'm just going to do it the way I want to do it and
Exactly.
move on
Yeah.
to the next level.
And and there are some of them to where like I wanted to do a certain objective, but if you decide to do something else first, you may lose out on that because it may be a timing based thing as well, just depending on where characters are at. So, but yeah, the first training mission pretty straightforward. They have you do a second time. The second time for me, I got in there and I decided to do the poison route. So what you needed to do is you kind of need to sneak down into like the basement, if you will, or the undercarriage of the boat, where there's a little room in there that you can get a pellet at. And of course, you want to take out one of the waiter guys, so that way you can get up there to that bar area. You poison his drink. Now, in the challenges, you can kind of read, because when you go into these levels, it gives you a bunch of these challenges. So you kind of got an idea, I can poison here, I can drop a lamp on someone over here, I can shoot fireworks off over here. So those are going to be something I might want to look at. And if you go into your objective marker, you can click on those challenges, and it'll give you like a marker like, hey, this is where you can kind of start this kind of route to take care of it. So with the poison one, in that challenge section, it says kill him with poison. So the first time I try to do it, I poison his drink. He takes the drink and he's like, I don't feel very good. I'm like, okay, well, he's going to go die. I'm going to go walk off the boat. So I'm walking off the boat and I'm using like the infrared sensor, whatever you want to call it. Because you can you press a button that kind of lets you see like highlights of all the characters.
Target vision.
Yeah, the assassinated target is in red. So I'm watching him like go through the boat into like the bathroom and he's like throwing up. And I'm like, just waiting for him to die. I'm waiting right next to the car. They got to press the button on to end the mission. And he's not dying. I'm like, the fucking thing said to poison him. Come to find out, there's a different type of poison that you can get. Maybe not in this mission, but like you can unlock later on to bring into missions with you. That is a fully lethal poison. The rat poison you find in the basement of the boat is not lethal. It just makes him very, very sick. So what you got to do is you got to follow him to the bathroom. As you're following to the bathroom, no one is the wiser of this. This is going to happen a lot in this game, towards like no one is the wiser of the creepy bald-headed guy who is following right behind you and your security guard.
A master of disguise.
With a barcode tattoo on the back of your head.
Not to mention, the security guard is out there on the outside the bathroom. I just walk into the bathroom right behind everybody else, and the security guard doesn't stop me. So I'm like, okay, well maybe if I play the hard difficulty, because there's like casual, professional. I think there's one more like assassin or pro or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That like tightens down like the simulation version of it, which I'm assuming this kind of gives it a little more lax too. I played on professional.
I just played on normal.
Yeah, I was playing the normal, professional.
I'm on normal as well.
So yeah, until it pisses me off, I'll be playing on normal as well.
So my only comment to you on that one, Preston, is even if you turn the difficulty up, the biggest glaring thing to me is he doesn't wear hats. So regardless of how you change it or how you make it a simulation, in any of these missions, I haven't worn hats. So even if it's on like the hardest sim level,
there's some outfits where he wears hats.
Yeah, yes.
I have not done any. I did construction worker, no hat. I did a bunch of other things, no hat.
There's some outfits where he'll wear hats.
But all I'm saying is like, how sim can it be if at the end of the day you're making it harder, but I'm still walking around?
No, they still want to make it
dude
dumb
with
fun.
a barcode.
There's stupid shit to do, like throwing a wrench at the guy cooking in the kitchen. And,
dude. Like I will. I've had experience not with this one at all. I've never played this one, but I know of some of the older Hitman games, and I've seen.
It can get
obviously
goofy.
there was old Giant Bomb clips of when they were really pushing this Hitman. It is not.
Yeah.
It
gets to a
you were supposed
level.
to suspend some belief here. And
So I'm following him in to the bathroom, Calvin Ritter, if you will, and I'm essentially drowning him in the toilet.
I will.
Yeah, it's a very, very violent drowning in the toilet. Shove him in a closet, walk out, go to the car, mission's done. Great.
So,
I was going to do it to where, because I saw on the other side of the boat, there was a little jet ski out there. I thought that was really cool. Try to go that way, but as soon as I went down the stairs, I saw a dude with a little white dot above his head that says that, they will recognize that you're not an actual cook.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple characters a couple NPCs in there that are like, hey, these guys will actually recognize you. Yeah, they know their crew well enough to where they can take you down. So I'm like, okay, we're not going that way.
Like,
I just went out the normal.
who's letting this freak bald man walk around?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's how I did it. How did you guys do the second boat go through?
So for me, I went and I stole the construction or the maintenance outfit or whatever and grabbed a wrench, and then if you go to the top deck while he's sitting there trying to talk on the phone or whatever, you can pull the or you can use the wrench or the crowbar or whatever it is to make the life raft fall on top of him and conk him out.
I saw it up there. Yeah, because I did that little vision. I saw it light up yellow. I'm like, oh, we can probably kill him with that, I bet.
Yeah, so I did that, pulled it, and then it just falls and crushes him, and then everyone's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, do, and I just walk right down the stairs, and everyone's just like, what's happening? And there's, just me just walking to this car. Just don't mind me.
Been great.
So for me, a trend throughout this playthrough will be me wanting to do cool stuff and not being able to figure out how to do it.
Yep. I can tell. Can I tell you?
Yeah.
I saw because you played it before me, so I got to it before. And when I got done, it was showing your Steam achievements and then my Steam achievements. And you had like none. Like you had like what would be the bare minimum of doing things. And I just went, I think I know exactly how this went for him.
It'll be a trend. We'll talk about it. There's all this cool
Sure.
shit I wanted to do and could not do. So like, it's funny. On my thing, like, I started off, I stole the mechanic thing, I went around the lower deck, I found the poison, I found the outfit, so then I changed an outfit. Cool, so I go upstairs and I drop the poison in. Except I drop the poison into the freaking soup that you could drop the poison in. But he never goes in to eat the soup.
No.
So I'm like, okay, so what the hell? So then, like, there was another one, like, where I can distract somebody with a gun.
Some random actor in this training thing just puking their brains out.
So, like, I dropped the gun, and I realized, like, well, dropping the gun and having somebody find it doesn't really alert anybody. It just gets one person to go, what is this? Secludes them. You can knock them out. I take their stuff. Cool. So then I'm like, well, I saw the dude that he's meeting with the hat downstairs by the boat waiting to come on. I want to disguise myself as him. So then I walk back downstairs, but he's now gone. So what I then do is just walk in my security guard outfit, back up the plank, and this like, ping, challenge completed, board the boat with the security outfit. So then I'm like upstairs, I go, okay, well, where can I find this guy and like change his outfit? Well, he's just nowhere to be found now. So I don't know if I took too long and he left or what. So like, he's not even on the boat by this point. And then the character never goes back to poison, like his stuff. So I just like, whatever, and I jump through the window, and he's there at the computer, and I just walk up, and it was just like, I literally let out an audible, like, and just strangled him, and then put him in the closet, and walked off the boat, and nobody knew, and I'm just like, you can see, I'm sure my character in my headcanon just walked over, and just like, took my fist, just slammed on the red button, I was like, done, stupid.
Yeah.
That will continue
Sure.
throughout all of this.
Yeah, no,
I'm happy with how I did the next level with Paris.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of times where I want to do something, but I just couldn't fucking for the life of me figure out how to do it. So we'll talk about that when we get to Paris for sure. After
I have a saga to tell you guys about.
Okay,
Paris,
all right. So the last training mission simulates assassinating Jasper Knight. This is like an older, like Cold War kind of simulation in a Cuban Cold War military base. It starts off between the two of Miss Burnwood kind of talking about you, and I guess his name is Sodders. I think I wrote it down right. But he's like the director of the ICA, and he's like, "Hey, are you sure about this guy?
Freak.
Yeah, this dude's a freak. His stats are off the charts." He's like, "But the problem is that these guys need to have weak points. You know, something for you to kind of squeeze for when you need to put him in line." He's like, "He doesn't." He's like, So she's like, I'll take him in. She's like, I'll take him in. Everything's on me. Just let me have this one. And he's like, okay, well, we're going to give him one more training. And you go through with it. So as you start the training, Miss Burnwood comes in and she's like, hey, Cyrus fucked up with the training. He's adding more guards in than there was in the simulation usually. Like, he wants you to fail this one. So I'm here. I'm going to help you through it. And we're going to get this through because I want you in. So I don't know if there's a whole lot of options on how to take care of the gentleman in this one. I forget. It was a minute ago. But essentially
There's three or four.
Okay, so for this one is I get into the base. I'm kind of sneaking past everybody. I get one of the security guards in the bushes because that's kind of part of the training. When I get in there, I go and I choose, because you go into the menu to kind of see like what your options are. I kind of go and I decide I'm going to mess with the plane or the jet, because what essentially is supposed to happen is Jasper Knight's supposed to leave this area with the jet. So I go up, I talk to one of the maintenance guys up there, or I mess with the plane, the jet itself. I mess with that, I get into it. You're essentially messing with like the mechanism for the ejector seat. So you mess with that. There's a little guy like right behind you who's supposed to be able to notice you, but he's always just crouching the entire time looking the opposite way, so you don't have to worry about him. Once you do that with the ejector seat, you have to go upstairs, talk to Jasper, and be like, hey, I need you to come by and do the inspection with me. We just got to go through it real quick. So you go down there, go through the inspection, you tell him to kind of look at a couple things, and then you tell him to go and look at the ejector button or the ejector lever. First off, this guy is getting in the jet, and I'm like, this guy is supposed to fly a jet out of here. He is like so weak and feeble, and he is like, I don't know how this man is going to be able to be trained to fly a jet. But again, suspension of disbelief. This is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to kill him. He's not actually supposed to fly a jet. So he gets in there and he pulls that cord and it just goes off. And the funny thing is, it pops out a little bit, hovers for a little while, just so he can give you the comedic and shoots him way out of the building. And it's like, mission complete, leave the area. So that's how I finished the jet mission.
I did the exact same thing.
Did you?
Yeah.
You could electrocute him, and then you could rig a light to fall on his head, according to the challenges.
That's what I saw.
But like, I read that, and then like, ejector seat. Well,
that one sounded much more fun.
Clearly,
yeah.
Right. What cracked me up? There's two things that cracked me up about this game that I did both here. Whenever you use a coin to distract a guard, if you don't take him out fast enough and you let him pick it up, their reaction is so funny. They walk over, they go, "Huh, all right, good day," and like puts the coin in their pocket, which is hilarious. But for the ejector seat one, this dude just takes off in the ejector seat. And like a couple people run over and just go, "Oh man, what happened?"
It's crazy.
That wasn't, and we just like turn around and walk
away
off.
with
Like no real alarm. You just lost like your actor to an ejector seat malfunction. Everyone's like, "Oh well, okay."
Yeah.
But yeah, I did it the same way.
That was good. But yeah, so we get through that. After you finish that one up, that is that, hey, you got accepted in to the agency. Sauter is not happy about it. He's pretty pissed off that you got in, but he's like, okay, well, everything's on you, essentially. Don't fuck this up. They try to give you a little bit of detail because it sounds like the agency is trying to figure out the hitman's past. So there was talk of like a hospital in Romania. They said that they found it. It was deserted. There's no trace of him or anyone for that matter being there at all. So something happened there, and they don't like this. They don't like the feeling of it. They don't like the sound of it. So, and to me,
she tells him that too, and they ask him about his name, and then he's like,
she's like, "What's your name?" Like 40. They called me 47. She's like, "That's not a name." He's like, "Make it a name.
Make it one." Yeah,
which I thought was cool. And you're like, "Okay, Agent 47." But I don't think I'm assuming that he doesn't even remember his past at this point, because otherwise he might have divulged it. But there was one thing in this training that I thought was kind of interesting. When you're first walking in with Burnwood, they mentioned something about what was it? It's not that training. I think they mentioned observing. They want to observe you. He's like, I'm not the only one that's being observed here. So like to me in my head, like he may have a little bit more going on about joining the ICA than what he's letting on possibly. Because it sounds like he may be doing his own investigation into maybe the group as well.
I have a guess. I have no idea.
I don't have
my
any
guess.
idea.
My guess is what's the woman's name?
Burnwood, Diana.
Diana. I think Diana knows about our past, and we know like there's different factions of assassins because we run into that in Paris, right? I think maybe she's a different faction and is looking to take down this one.
This one.
Or there's something corrupt with this one that she's looking to take down, and she knows about us, and she's bringing us in and wants to manipulate us into taking that organization down. That's my guess. We'll see how it plays out.
How it rolls out. So you're given the title of agent, and then you get that cool assassination CG montage. So you get the montage of that. As they go through that montage, they start filling you in on your next mission. As well. So for this one, it is that you're going to be going to a fashion show in Paris, the Sanguine fashion show, that is held by Viktor Novikov and his partner Dalia Margolis, who are the two targets for your mission here. Victor is obviously the one who runs the fashion show, and Dalia is his partner, retired supermodel, but also apparently one of the most evil of the two as they go through there, because they both lead Iago, which is a spy ring for valuable secrets of the global elite. So they got essentially dirt or very specific information on them. They mentioned two things that they kind of were involved with. There was a nuclear power plant that they essentially gave information to a certain group to destroy it and kill thousands of people. Also a plane that was taking a politician essentially and his family. The flight plans for that were very secretive, and they leaked it out as well to someone so that can kill the entire family. So they're very bad people. You're going out there to kill them, mainly because they have some more information as well. So MI6 is hiring us to essentially assassinate them, to stop them from selling the list they have. It's called the NOC list. I'm not sure what that stands for. Didn't look it up. But essentially, it has Secret Service agents information. So they could, all those Secret Service agents they have out there, they could be got because all their identity and everything would be leaked out that they're an actual Secret Service agent. So yeah, MI6 is hiring us for this one. Which I thought was funny because in entire time I'm playing this, I'm thinking, hey, these guys are making the next James Bond game. And then we have MI6 over here hiring us, pretty much doing what a James Bond thing. So
there's actually an NPC that you can run into that makes like a little Bond joke too, but I'll talk about that one.
Okay. So for me, I get into here. You pull up, you get the fountain, you get the reporter. I'm sitting there listening to the reporter for a while, and nothing's really happening with that, so I kind of just continue on. Go inside, you see Victor come down the stairwell. You get a little bit of an introduction from Diana about him. Same thing kind of happens when you do see Dahlia as well. So I go into my menu, kind of see what kind of options I have for this. I see the one for poisoning the drink. I'm like, okay, I've done this poison the drink thing before. Let's go ahead and take it. Let's go ahead and do this. So I go around the outside to where the patio is, in the bar area, kind of go down the side a little bit, and there's a basement. So as you're kind of sitting there, the two waiters are talking. And that's when you find out that Victor has a special drink that he likes. It's like the bare knuckle boxer, I think it's what it's called. And they have the ingredients list. No one really knows how to make it, but they have the way to make it like on a piece of paper inside the basement. So you follow that waiter in there. I knock him out, take his clothes, go get that recipe, and then go back upstairs. Luckily, I saved it a little bit beforehand. Because again, I'm thinking, well, maybe the simulation was just jacked up. I'm going to poison him and then do the whole same thing again to where he doesn't actually die automatically. But you go in there, I make the drink even before he walks up. I make the drink and I poison it. I just kind of hang out there, blending in. And as soon as he gets sick, I follow him to where he goes. Kind of rinse and repeat of what I did on the boat one. And then after that, I'm trying to figure out how just to even get to Dahlia. So Dahlia's on the second floor. That's where the silent auction is being taken care of. I go back to my mission selects as far as like the challenges to kind of figure out if they can give me a hint on what to do to kind of take her down. I think like 2 or 3 of those challenges were already no longer available. So you had the Seek one was unavailable. Helmut Kruger one was unavailable. Hey, guess what? I've listened to Giant Bomb for a while. Now I know who Helmut Kruger is. I had no idea because I haven't watched the Hitman stuff that they did, but I heard them talk about on the podcast God knows how many times. Helmut Kruger. And it was like one of their top favorite moments when they did like their Game of the Year type of deal. So I missed out on a couple of those things. So I'm seeing the one for fireworks. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. The fireworks one will be fun. Let's see how that one goes. So I'm like walking up because she's like on the, I think they say it's second floor, but I think she's like on the third floor because you go up once, you have to go up again. To get up to the first like upper floor, you can't just be a waiter. So I figured out, I got a security guy who was just hanging out in like the museum area. I took him out, grabbed his security gear, and then I'm like, okay, well, I can get to the next level. After that, it's like they don't let security up beyond that level. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm looking around. I'm not finding anyone else I can take out. I find out where the fireworks stuff is. Essentially, you have the igniter for the fireworks outside. Yeah. So you can let it go off early. It's supposed to be a distraction. And I'm like looking around, like, well, if I can't even get to her, how the fuck am I supposed to be able to take her out? There's a couple ways you can do it. The videos I found were pretty good, but that's not how I went about it. I ended up like finding out where she was and hitting the firework thing, and like I was not on her level yet. Just to kind of let the fireworks go off. Like, well, maybe it triggers something to happen, and I can kind of take it here from there. Couldn't figure it out. I'm like, fuck. This is kind of a reason why I didn't play this game back in 2016. Is I miss some of the most obvious shit sometimes. So I'm just beating my head against like, how the fuck do I get up to Dahlia? Like I can't figure it out. So I'm like, okay, let's look something up real quick. Let's just kind of see how I can get up there because I'm at a loss. I'm sitting here. It's been 45 minutes on this one level. I've only killed the first guy, and like Alex is over here telling me he'd beat it in 25 minutes. I'm like, okay, we gotta continue. I'm going over 2 hours.
My playtime was 25, but it took me about 50 minutes to do it. I'll tell you next on
all right,
why.
Fair enough.
Like Christian, mine was also a saga, so I'll tell you about mine in a moment.
So I kind of look some up. I find out that you can actually climb up the pipes on the outside of the building. So what I ended up doing is I go around a little bit. I find a little guy, a security guy. He's just kind of facing that hut. I go into the security like room, like the little building, the small little like one room building behind him. I end up like throwing a coin in that building. He goes around. I knock him out in that building so I can just go up the pipe without being caught. Go up the pipe without being caught. And I go up into, I think that was right where her office is at. So as I'm there, there is like her aide or whoever who's helping with the auction. She's looking at the map plan and everything like that, and she's talking to somebody on the phone. It triggers like a story section. So like, okay, let's play out. This will kind of help me with getting into whatever assassination challenge I can do for this one. Essentially, she's taking care of the silent auction. She's worried about some shit that might go down. Come to find out, you can get access to the computer and mess with it. You can find the dongle. So I go around that level of the house. I find like there's like a unfinished section of the house. It's kind of like their security hub room. I was able to sneak in there pretty quickly. There's one guy who can recognize you, but I'm just kind of sneaky getting in there, grab that, get out. Go back to the computer, enter the little like USB in, and essentially it messes with the silent auction a little bit. So she's freaking out. The girl who's there is freaking out, and then after she closes that, calls the lady up. What happens is the lady comes through. And as the lady before the lady even comes through, when they find out that it's kind of getting shut down, like one of the security guards outside that patio is like, yo, overheard everything. I also know about this mole thing, which I didn't even hear about. I also know about this mole thing. We need to get you the fuck out now. Like, no stops. Like, she will find you. She will fucking kill you. So we need to go and leave now. So those two leave. I mess with the computer again, and Dahlia comes through with her security guard. As Dahlia comes through the security guard, she kind of fixes whatever problem. She's like, cool, great, fix it myself, whatever. As she talks about the other person, talks about how she's pissed off, she's like, you better be dead. And after Dahlia leaves, her security is there for a hot minute. I take out security immediately, because that's the person who's following her around the entire building. So take out that security person, kind of bring him to the outside to where no one can see him. I just fuck with the computer again, and she comes in all by herself. That's where I take her out, snap her neck, head out the building. No one's the wiser, finished up. So I kind of did this, find it kind of basic, kind of simple. That was a challenge to mess with the computer to go through. But yeah, nothing too complex. I was just trying to get through it at that certain point.
Let me tell you. Okay. So yes, my playtime was 25 minutes. It probably took me closer to 50. I'm not going to go through the ways that I failed or the time I got frustrated and just in the room shot her and her guard while they were just looking at me.
I knew you did that. I knew you did it.
I reloaded and I was pissed off.
So can I just tell you, I got into a similar situation, but my brain worked a completely different way. But in the moment, I said to myself, I know for a fact Alex shot her right here. Like, he wasted zero time. I know he did it right here.
I was so pissed at one point. I was in the room where there's a security guard in the back, and then her and her aide keep walking in and talking. So earlier I had taken out the security guard, so I was standing in that corner while they were talking. And when they were face to face, she turns to the side, and I just capped him in the back of the head and capped her in the side of the head before she could even move. And I was just like, but then reloaded to do it. So, okay. And this is why I got frustrated, so you'll see. So I walk in, I pass the camera person, I hear them talking. First of all, like, I love the world building they've done here is incredible. They really bring these levels to life. And they put more people on screen in some of these levels than I think I've ever seen in any game, honestly.
Oh, for sure.
That's what happens when you get to spend all of your time working on a single level.
Yeah, like, independent NPCs, like, looked incredible. So I walk in, and the first thing I do is, like, I walk around and see the main guy talking at the stairs, and I'm like, damn, he's, like, right here, but clearly I can't take him out. So let me go through this door to the left. Pops me outside, and like you, Preston, I see the basement. I'm like, dope. So I go down to the basement. I'm using my Eagle Vision for those Assassin's Creed fans, and I see the security guards walking around. I see their pattern, and when two walk around, I just crouch through the middle and run up the hallway. I'm like, sweet, I'm past security. Now I see the cooks. I'm like, oh, let's do poison right this time.
Bonk. Yeah.
So I knock one of the guys out. I dress up as the chef. So I've gone from my suit to the chef. Right, there's two. I poison some stuff, and then I find the note about, like, his drink, and I'm like, well, clearly I just poisoned this soup, and that's not going to kill him, and I can't find this drink, so that's irritating. So then I walk back around to another door.
Innocent bystanders shitting themselves all over this party.
So then I go into another room downstairs, and it's a security guard So I throw a coin, and he comes out. So I knock out the security guard. So now I've gone from my suit to the chef to the security guard. I'm like, dope. I can like move around more as security guards. I'm walking around as security guard.
I wish you just really quick. I just gotta interject. I wish you could hear NPC conversations where somebody is just locked in the bathroom.
Why so many bathrooms in that place?
And they're just praying and just being like, "Why does God hate me? Who did this to me?" And it's just Hitman walking by being like, "Oops."
Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't the second one. Wasn't the security guard? It was the chef and to the help, right? The red vest.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. This will get me around. The maitre d', the waiter, will get me around. So I'm walking around as the waiter, but then I get to a point where I can't cross because there's security. So I walk into a closet, and as I'm about to walk into the closet, I hear these two people in this little gallery go like, "Oh, that guy looks just like Helmut Kruger," and I'm like, "Ha ha, that would be fun." Do I? Very cool. So I walk into the closet, and I turn on the vacuum, and I walk out, and the security guard's like, "What the hell is that? Let me go check." So he walks in, so I knock him out. I put on his clothes. So now all of a sudden I've gone from my outfit to the cook to the maitre d' to the security guard, right? So then I'm walking around.
That gets you a lot of places.
It does. But I see like where the models are, and I'm like, dope. So I jump over. Now all of a sudden I knock out one of the makeup people, and I'm dressed as the makeup person. So then I walk around and I see where the chair is for Helmut Kruger. However, apparently he's already come and gone. So I can't do that. So now I'm like, shit. So I walk back over and I get my
You do have
security
multiple
guard.
chances to get Helmut Kruger, but I'll talk about that in mine.
I walk back over and I get the like security guard outfit, and I walk around some more. And then I find what could be the coolest one. I walk into this room. It's very dark. There's like a bar around it with food where you can tell it's like a reception area, and this woman on the phone, and it's the reporter from outside. And she's like, "Yeah, we're going to do this one-on-one interview, blah, 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 be so cool." And I do the intel, and they're like, "You could rig the extra lens with an explosive and have it explode when he's giving an interview." And I'm like, well, that is awesome. So I walk around for another 10, 15 minutes and never find that thing. So then I'm just by this point like clutching my controller, and I realize that my security guard outfit won't get me upstairs any further because, like you said, has to be the other guard. But I do quickly find that I can climb the pole. I'm like, dope. So I climb the pole and I go upstairs. I see the guys that would all know me, the real security. So I open a door and I shut it real fast, and I'm hiding behind a wall. And he comes over to shut the door. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to knock him out. So I go to press the knockout button. I forget that by this point I've picked up a pair of scissors. And I just stick him with a pair of scissors. And he just dies. And I just pull him around the side really fast and throw on his outfit, throw on his gun. So,
Was that a safety scissors?
So again, I've gone from my outfit to the chef, to the maitre d', to the security guard, to the makeup person, back to the security guard, now to like the high level, like personal people, right? So I follow her around forever. I look for the computer chip. I can't find the computer chip. I sit for 5 minutes in the freaking chair where they're doing the auction, and nothing happens. I'm like, what am I doing here? So I walk around. That's when I killed her security guard in the room. And I sat for a minute, and I just got pissed off, and I shot her. And I was like, not the way I wanted this to happen, but sometime. So then I look out the window, and I go, cool, I can jump over on this like gallery thing, right? On the scaffolding. So I jump on the scaffolding, and I see I'm right above the runway. And as I'm walking out there, the guy had already given his speech, and he's walking back. And I go, man, I bet I could have dropped this on him. And I see where you can. So then I go, that's when I reloaded my save. And was like, that's not how I want this to play out. Here's what I want to do. Still couldn't find out the computer thing. Still couldn't poison anybody. Still couldn't kill her in a fun way. So what I did was I jumped on the scaffolding earlier, and I waited till he was walking around. And as he was walking underneath, I pulled out my gun and popped her through the window because she happened to be having a conversation. I was like, not what I wanted, but fair be it. It is what it is. And then I yanked the scaffolding winch, and it fell on him, which was really cool.
Yeah,
and then it was just like, killed civilian, killed civilian, killed civilian, killed civilian, killed civilian. I was like, "Ugh, I hate that, but I've also already accidentally stabbed a security guard with a pair of scissors. So let's climb back inside and let's leave. And that's how I did that mission. And I was not overly satisfied with any of the ways I went about it.
Okay, so allow me to regale you both of my tale. So you guys know how I play games in general. My brain is just a little bit weird. Like I play like I'm a tester. Like I'm going to just poke at all of the edges, right? So one thing I will say to make your experience more enjoyable: save constantly.
Yeah, I've learned to do that. Like anytime I want to do something now, it's
Even
and
before you want
multiple
to do
saves,
something,
multiple saves.
Yes, multiple save, like rotate saves, but then also just any time that you feel like I have made a significant amount of progress, even if it's just I went from the parking lot to the entrance of this building. Fuck it, save. Like just quick save and keep moving. That way you don't have to fucking worry about trying to retrace some of your steps. So, I will say, if you do what I'm about to do, you will get a bunch of challenge points, but you won't get a lot of stars because unless you do a full restart of the mission, it counts it. Even if you reload, it counts whatever had happened previously.
So you get the challenge.
You get the challenge, but so for instance, like I got a single star on Paris because I killed them probably like 15 different ways before I finally like got through a different thing. Well, I killed one of them a bunch of different ways, but either way. So, but it counted all of that, even though I ended it with a perfect no civilians were harmed thing. But it counted all that other stuff. But I got like 18 different fucking challenges when I ended it. So, you know, it not that the rankings matter, but for your own enjoyment, save constantly.
Sure.
Yeah.
And rotate saves. So, I start, and the first thing is, I go, okay, this game clearly wants me to go through the entrance and see whatever's happening here. I will not be doing that. I'm going to go immediately to the parking lot. So I cut to the left, I go through the parking lot, and I start walking through it. I'm like looking for things, and I'm like, okay, you know, what do I see over here? Is there anybody alone that I can potentially get? Here we go. So I start walking towards the security guard, and he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa there, Mr. Bond, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I understand that, you know, you might be just wandering around or whatever, but just go to the party. You don't need to be over here. So I was like, okay. And I start looking around, and every single person, like the tech crew or whatever, is with somebody. So I'm like, all right, well, fuck this. So I go back in the entrance, walk up, and I see Tweedledee coming down the stairs, and I'm like, all right, whatever, moving on. I was like, I can't kill him right now. Clearly he's busy.
Could you?
So, well, I'm sure you could just shoot him right there and be like, or do other things. But like, I was like, I'm gonna like, you could probably hit a winch or whatever. I was like, what? I got other. It's fresh. I'm fresh in the mission. I'm moving around. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I start looking, and then I get to, and just so we're clear, like you, Preston, I know about the Helmut Kruger thing. I did not know what level it was a part of, where Helmut Kruger is at.
So what is the thing with him other than just the fact that like you can dress up as
Giant Bomb? Just it was a huge thing. Like it was, you know,
they made the Helmut Kruger thing an entire thing for like their playthroughs and jokes.
And you can with Helmut Kruger, like there's so many different things that person can do since he's like the star of the Paris show. So you're basically able to go wherever the fuck you want as Helmut Kruger. So it lets you can play as a band. You can do like it's all sorts of crazy things. Either way, so I come through and I am just like, okay, well, I'm just as a guest right now, so I was like, I need to get out of these clothes. First thing I need to do is get out of these clothes. So the first person I see by themselves is getting bonked. I'm getting out of here. So I open up to the back area where like the artists or the stylists are at, right? So just like you, Alex, I hop over the side. I see one dude is on the phone yapping about something. I was like, I don't even know what you're yapping about. Goodbye. I choke him out. I stuff him in a thing, and I become a stylist. And I'm like running around. I'm like, okay. I see old boy come back, and he's now arguing with artists or whatever. And I was like, okay, all right. So now I'm making progress. We're getting here. So I'm like, okay, well, and I look at the vision. I see what's her face like way up there, and so I'm like, all right, well, let's work my way down. Like I was like, let's get up there, do what I need to do, and then I'll deal with old boy somehow other way, right? Like so I'm like, all right, I'm in stylist. Let's see how far I can make it. Stylus is allowed to get me up to
The second level.
basically the second floor, right? So as now there's a side passage that you can go up that's like just literally like a row of stairs that will take you all the way up to the third floor, basically.
Yeah.
And on the top of that, there's a tech crew guy there. And so I was like, okay, well, you're clearly all the way up here, and he's got like a little dome above his head. I was like, so he will be pissed if he sees me. I was like, but he's working on his little computer right now. You're getting bonked. Take him. I drag him all the way down to the bottom floor of the stairs where there's a cupboard down there, shove him in it, get his clothes. Now I'm part of the tech group. First thing I do before I even have a chance to do anything is I see fireworks display. I take that, and then the guy's like, yo, you should put that back. And 47 goes, Victor wants me to get it. He wants to detonate the fireworks himself. And then the guy goes, okay, they're his fireworks, I suppose. And so I was like, all right, start, save, press the button. As soon as I press the button to detonate the fireworks, I see that everybody starts moving immediately towards where the fireworks are. I'm like, okay. So I reload, go back, and I'm like, okay, I'm up here now. I was like, I see there's a couple different things that are happening here. And I was like, so what I need to do is figure out a way to... I was like, I got to get up to the highest level, right? And there's security, and then there's like, the Secret Service
Professional,
guys.
Security, yeah.
So as a tech guy, I can go around that floor and see all these Secret Service guys, but I can't actually go up the next floor, right? So I'm just kind of paying attention to these guys, and I notice that there's like a little guard change that happens in the hallway, and there's a split off where there's no one in that little hallway, and one guy goes and talks in between these two people. So I'm like, well, dude, the second you walk, well, I'm just going to wait here, and the second you come through, I'm punching the shit out of you, taking your stuff, and now I'm a Secret Service guy. So that's what I do. So stuff him away really fast in the side of the hallway. Now I'm a Secret Service guy, and I'm like, cool. Now, I feel like at this moment, I feel like I'm in my final outfit for the game, or for this level. So, I should say that when I found a wrench also, and that'll come into play later, but I got a wrench out from the parking lot, so I picked that up. So, because every single time that I kept walking by things, it was like, you need a wrench. I was like, I'm going to want this in my back pocket. So I go find a wrench as as the Secret Service guys. I'm back up there now. And they go, okay, now it's time for me to scope out this top floor and figure out what's happening here. Each top floor section is guarded by a circle guy that says, hey, I know you, or I don't know you, fucking get back here, and if you try to run away, they'll, start shooting at you. Unless you just flick a coin, and then he'll make, so he either will go look at it himself, or he'll make somebody go look at it. So in mine, he made somebody go look at it, but he leaned forward just enough that I could clip behind him and get up the stairs, and nothing happened. Like, it didn't even count as me.
Even though you were standing there when you flicked the coin.
No, so I was hiding behind a pillar. So I
Okay.
flicked a coin behind a pillar, and then he leans forward a little bit, and so then I went around and just ran past him. So as soon as I got up the stairs and he didn't see me, I was like, start safe. I was like, okay, all right, that way I don't have to deal with this part anymore. So I'm up here now, and I'm like, all right, so let's start following her. So, and as I'm doing that, I'm also looking to see, what can I do to old boy downstairs and see if there's any way I can just, knock this out really fast and then just fucking leave, right? So, as I start following her around, because I'm the Secret Service guy, they don't question you at all. You can be right behind her fucking head, and she's like, okay, just doesn't care. So, I'm following her around, and I get into the room where she sits and has a conversation with her little aide guy, and they're talking about, her plans and what she's doing and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, okay, this room is definitely going to be the room where I smoke her. I was like, for sure. It's away from everybody. There's only one guard in here. This is what I'm going to do. So the first thing I do is there's only one guard in there to begin with. So I wait for them to leave, and I'm like, surely they'll be back. I watched her make the rounds a bunch, right? So I'm like, okay, she comes back in here every so often. She always goes back and gets some wine. She always does different things. I was like, but I also know that she goes to the balcony when the fireworks come off. I was like, so I have some options here. I was like, but first things first, let's get this room emptied. So I'm bow, punch the guard, and drag him into the bathroom on the left-hand side, shove him in the cupboard. Well, then I look out, and I'm like, oh, dude, I have a great shot of the runway here. I was like, if Victor, when he goes to introduce the fashion show or whatever, I was like, dude, I'm just going to snipe him from right here and then leave. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm like, all right, that's how I'll kill him, decided. It's like, so I know I'm going to get Diane and her aide in here somehow, but I'm going to figure this out. And I said, maybe, you know what I'll do is, so I go back out into the, onto the balcony, and there's a propane tank that you can mess with, right?
Heater.
So I was like, well, maybe I'll mess with the heater, do the fireworks, it explodes, kills her, and then I'll make my way to the bathroom, and if, Victor tries to leave or whatever, then I'll just shoot him, and then I'll be good to go. So this is where some plans started to get crazy here. So I saved, before this moment, I, again, clip behind the guard that's out there to do the wrench, because if you just mess with the heater and leave, everybody would be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? And then, you'll get in trouble. But I did it to where I was, just outside of, where his eye, and even though I'm right next to him doing it, it doesn't trigger anything for him. So I do that, and I'm like, great, cool, press the fireworks button. She comes out, and I'm waiting, and then it fucking, boom, explodes. And kills her, the guard, and then two other people that were standing by the window or whatever. Yeah, and I was like, damn. I was like, all right, well, it's a lot more people than I wanted to die, but whatever, right? So then I go and I'm like, all right, time to go make my way to the bathroom, and I'll wait for Victor to try to make his move. I'll shoot him, and then I'll leave. And who do I see?
Mr. Kruger.
Waiting for me in this room. But Helmut Kruger.
There you go.
And he's waiting because he has a conversation with her. Mm-hmm. And so I said, no. This is what I'm doing.
There you go.
So I hit start, load, go back. I don't do the fucking thing. I go and I wait in this room, and she's out doing this thing. Helmut Kruger comes in there and just sees me standing as the guard, right? So doesn't think anything of it and just sits there. And before he can even pull out his phone, I'm like, boom! I just punched the shit out of him. Take his thing, grab his phone, call Diane, say, hey, I'm ready to meet, blah, blah. Now, here's where I thought I fucked up. It's because it goes, do you want to meet now, or should I go walk the runway? And she goes, no, you have to go walk the runway first, and then I'll see you. And so I was like, oh, fuck, okay. I was like, well, it should be fine. The guards won't bother me, so I'll go run down there. Helmut Kruger in that game had already done the one-way walk. So she's heading towards me already, and I can see it in the vision. I go, well, okay, I'll just wait. I just won't move. And if I have to reload, I'll reload, but I'll wait. So I wait. She comes in, and she's like, hey, saw you on the runway. That was great, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's hilarious because you didn't, but that's fine. So I'm waiting. She goes to sit down, and then the aide goes to come in. She's like, no, you can wait outside. And so I'm like, great. Okay, so it's just me and you. I'm going to throat punch you the second this happens, and I'm going to snap your neck, and we're going to get out of here. So I go to do that, and then I realized that, the guard that I killed earlier in that room, I did not pick up his weapon. So his weapon is still on the ground. So when the aide goes to close the door, a guard at some point had come in through my, I'm just running around, right? So I don't know this. A guard came and picked up that weapon, returned it, and then was walking back to his post outside the door. So the first time I go to sucker punch her, and the guard opens the door and sees me snap her neck and is like, motherfucker, da, da, da. And I was like, oh, dude, what the fuck? I was like, okay, I'll just wait then. So I wait longer. She's giving more of her speech. That guard comes through the door and then goes out. Door shuts, blah, blah. I was like, okay, save. I clearly will have no more interruptions here. So I stand up, and she's like, Helmut, I must insist, you really have to sit. And I'm like, well, boom! I just punch her again, and then fucking snap her neck and go. Apparently, because there's a commotion happening, the aide goes, okay, well, I'm going to go in and see what that was all about. So he opens the door. Now, of course, I don't know this, so I'm dragging her body to the closet, and he sees it, and he's like, what the fuck? So I'm like, oh, okay, reload. So I wait, and I'm like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'll knock her out, and then wait for him to open the door, close the door behind him, punch him, snap. And then I was like, I'll leave him knocked out, hide him, snap her neck, do that. And as I'm doing this, right, I'm dragging. It takes me a little bit because I'm looking at the map and I'm making sure that nobody is coming. When that happens, I notice that old boy is walking across the thing. And I go, oh, okay. If I do this fast enough, I can get this done. As soon as the door shuts when that security guard's at the other end, I knock her out, wait for the aide to come in, shut the door, knock him out, snap her neck, hide both of them, and by the time I get done doing that, he will be at the very tail end of the runway. I then take my pistol out, shoot him from the runway, and I'm fucking gone. So that's exactly what I do. So I smack her up, snap her neck, hide her, aide comes in, I shut the door, knock him out, hide him. Then I'm waiting in the bathroom, and then he's walking, and Victor's just standing there, and the one artist dude is sitting there, and I go, bink, shoot him, and then I leave. And because I'm Helmut Kruger, I get to take the helicopter, because apparently Helmut Kruger rides in on that helicopter. So then I just walk down the stairs, nobody says anything to me because I'm Helmut Kruger, and I walk straight out, get into the helicopter, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to leave. And they're like, oh, okay. And then all these people are freaking out on the bottom floor because somebody just got their head shot up, like, you know. And so then, but top floor, people don't, I guess, haven't realized yet or whatever. So I'm leaving, hit the helicopter, I leave. And then, so because I killed them in multiple different ways, and also sometimes some civilians got hurt and other times they didn't, it was like all these different point totals and challenges are like bing, 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 like going. And I was like, oh man, I'm sure I'll get like a bunch. And then when it goes to the stars, it was like 1 star because it showed me like all the different things that I did wrong leading up to that. But I was like, well, fuck you, I don't care. Like I was having fun.
Leaderboard doesn't matter to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. Well, it wasn't a leaderboard; it's just your own score. But yeah, I was like, okay, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. But I was like, so that was my perfect thing. But it just took me. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Save all the time, rotate your saves, and you will just naturally find. You'll bump into the fun stuff that is supposed to happen.
Sure.
I did leave on the helicopter as Agent 47. I just snuck like out into the courtyard on my way out and just went around the security guard and just hit the red button, and it took me out on that.
That was the other thing. I got to fly it and leave because I had everybody distracted because after I shot him, I set the fireworks off. And so everybody on the outside has their cameras out and they're filming the fireworks. So none of the guards and nobody were looking at me because they're all filming the fireworks. So I just left through that way.
Very nice.
I enjoyed it. I wished this would be an added layer of complexity. I think it would be cool if they had one other way to kill them. If you could, like, the thing you could drop on the guy, honestly, if they could do that as like a companion kill. Like maybe there's one short part where if you timed it out or were there, you could kill both with one thing. I think dropping it from the ceiling, okay.
There is a challenge for killing both of them at the same time with a chandelier. Essentially what you would have to do, and me watching all the videos, is what I saw is the guy came in the front entrance. When Victor starts coming down the stairs, you take a silencer and shoot one of the walls near him. That freaks them all out. You somehow get a hold of one of the security detail and use their phone, be like, hey, we got a code red or whatever the fuck it is. Get both of them together, put them in the safe room so that we don't have any issues. Well, that safe room is not the safe room you can explode the thing in with, because that's one of them too as far as challenges. Get them to go in the panic room and then explode the panic room with the explosives. But there is a chandelier that's just right above them. So when they're both talking to each other in that one room, you can just shoot that chandelier down and kill him.
Yeah.
Also, when you were talking how you first walked in, you're like, there's no way I can kill him while he's just standing right there on the staircase. If you go into a corner of that room as he's coming down, there's that chandelier that's right there in the middle. You can just straight up shoot the rope off that chandelier in that corner. No one is the wiser, even though there's like 15 people standing right next to you. But it's a silencer, so they can't hear it, and you weren't in front of them while you shot it, so therefore they don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff like that.
I think it would have been cool if they made the one that drops from the sky, like, if that could have been the companion kill, because it adds a moral complexity into it. Because if you drop it, you kill a ton of civilians with it. So then you could kind of like, you could even make that easy narrative if you wanted, but then like, how do you want to play this? Are you just super ruthless, you're an assassin, you don't care who gets in your way? Or are you that assassin that like only takes out the people necessary? I think that one single kill could have been a cool way to do that, but again, that's
Yeah.
harder. It's added
And there's a
complexity.
lot of other fun ways to kill. Like there's just so many different ways you can go about. Like even Christian mentioned the whole like, well, you loosen up the heater, the gas heater, and then you hit the fireworks. She goes outside for a smoke, and it kills her, but it also kills a couple other people that's right next to her. There is a one really odd one. It's like in that storage area. If you go further back into there, you can find a vampire magician outfit. And that can kind of get you through a couple things. There's a challenge to kill them both with the vampire magician outfit. It just
Alex is
there's a lot of
like, be
freaking
right back.
things.
I'm reloading the game really quick.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things. So I'm gonna next time when I do one of the next levels, I'm gonna try to focus in on some of the challenges that seem like a lot of fun, and then just try to make sure that I find out a way to do it. Again, I'm not too worried about points either, so I'll probably just load and reload to my heart's content. But if I was doing it and I was worried about the challenges, what I would do probably is I would case out the level first. Kind of look around, see what I gotta do. I'm like, okay, we can set up like this, set up like that. Okay, now let's restart the entire mission, knowing what I need to do for these 2 kills, and then go into it and probably get the better score at that point. But again, like I mentioned, you got this, you got the training, and you got this mission, and that you have all that for the next month. So everyone is playing multiple variations of Paris, how to do things. There's so much dialogue going on, and
Well,
small
that, and
things you pick up on.
as you get challenges and you get experience and stuff, it unlocks different spawn points,
Loadouts.
different
Spawn
outfits,
points,
and different things.
Different things you can bring
load
into it, like the lethal
Yeah.
poison. If there's one that I would have never guessed myself, but you know that little like the patio outside the bar area in that first section. If you go to that first corner where you first leave there, you can just act natural essentially there, and there's 2 dudes who start talking to each other, and one of the guys is supposed to meet up with Victor like in the courtyard. Well, you just tell him like, hey, I'm a security detail. Victor told us to meet out here. You go out there. Victor's obviously not out there because you're not his actual security guard. So he calls up Victor. Victor meets him all the way the hell out there, and you can kind of take care of him that way as well. But that's the one to where you can toss him into the river.
The only thing, I don't know if I wish, like, part of me wishes with your, like, Eagle Vision or whatever, you could target different things. So, like, you can target your targets, but, like, the guy on the boat level with the hat that was doing the meet and Victor, like, they don't show up on that vision as far as what I've seen.
But
So,
if you see the
like,
challenge, what it will do is it'll pop up one of those little light bulbs. So you can select it, and you can like essentially follow that to where it's like when I wanted to do the bartender one for like the cocktail. When I clicked on that, it was having me go towards that basement where those 2 people were talking.
so it'll
And then
guide you to
it. Does. So like when I picked up the recipe, it showed me where his drink was going to be at that I had to poison.
Gotcha.
So like you couldn't figure out what the
Gotcha.
drink was, but since I had that highlighted and selected as far as the challenge I was wanting to go for, it left a little icon right where his drink was, so I knew that was the drink I had to poison.
I didn't realize that. I read through the challenges, but I actually didn't, like, click on
If
them.
you
to
click on
select.
them,
I didn't-
it'll help you
Got
and
it.
navigate you. Because that's the one what I was trying to do with like the computer. It just shows me where she's at, and I'm like, I don't know how to fucking get up there. It's helpful to a point, but it's not going to give you a 100% like, here's the hallway you need to go to. Here's this guy you got to get. It's no, she's up there or that's up there. Figure out how to get there. So it can leave a little bit open ended for you to kind of figure out, but it's nice.
I was fine the open ended way that I played it, but like there were a couple like the helmet one where I was like, that sucks.
could've
Like, I
done
wish
this
I would
a
have
little
known
cooler.
he was there.
Yeah,
I wish he would
yeah.
have been there earlier and so on, but whatever. It was,
Either way.
The nice thing is that we'll have a little bit more time for this next section, so you can, look
Yeah,
around.
they're so we'll talk about that here in a minute. So after you've taken both those guys out, I just went out the front. Let's see here. A cutscene goes through. So this is from a day earlier in Paris. Victor is meeting up with a unknown guy. He says Kemerov in Moscow is gone. He set him up as a spy. Victor gives him all the secrets that Iago has as payment, possibly. It's very loose on what is actually going on there. I assume that Victor hired him to take care of Kemerov in Moscow. And then the payment was all the secrets, possibly. Again, they get pretty loose on what you might be happening there. But yeah, he gives Iago all the information of Iago to this mysterious guy. Unknown guy sends the text while he's talking to him that says that to leak the names. And then leak the names. So I think possibly that when he leaked the names, that might have been getting us hired to assassinate these 2. Like, I got the information. he's texting on the side, hey, leak the names, like as far as Victor and Diana having the information of Iago. Leak the names, and then someone will take care of it, kind of deal. Because even at the very end, he says like, "Oh, it'll be a party. It'll be a party you'll be remembered by for sure." So that kind of ends where we played through that way. There's obviously that mysterious guy there. I was kind of sitting there, I'm like, I kind of recognize this guy's voice. I looked it up. He is the father in Final Fantasy 16, Elwyn. He is also the dude with mutton chops in Horizon games.
Oh, sure.
Gotcha.
So it's that was a recognizable name. The guy who plays Hitman, he plays Hitman in most of those games. And then what was the other one? It was the lady, Diana. She's known to be in a lot. Oh, she plays the main character in Returnal. She voices that character.
Oh, sure.
Celine, so, but yeah,
did the Hitman movie ever come out?
Yes, 2008 or 2009. It was Timothy Oliphant.
Oh, sure. Yeah, there's also one in 2023.
Oh, is there? Okay. I'm going to start watching.
Oh, I think that's just called Hitman, but I don't think it's
Not the game Hitman, just something else.
It's just a random Hitman movie. But yeah, there is a game based off of the series Hitman. By Timothy Oliphant. I will be watching that hopefully by the time next week, so I'll be giving you my review on that. But yeah, so that was it. That was for the first part of our Hitman 2016 playthrough. Very interesting game. I can definitely see why people would love this game. I love the idea that you had that whole level for a month before you can get the next level. So I can definitely see how the hype got built up on that for sure.
They did great work. The level looked great.
Yeah. The CG cutscenes look great, but like even like just the overall in general, just overall feel of everything, like that definitely that was a very large mansion. It had very differences as far as aesthetics going through there, whether it's the runway scene, the bar scene, the behind the scenes of the runway, or the security. There's a lot going on in there that you could easily
had to
miss.
be like 1,000 people, right?
There's
that
a lot.
were on there.
A lot for sure. But yeah, no, I thought that was great. We'll be going into 2 more missions next week. We have Sapienza and Marrakesh. I don't know what the actual missions are called. It's very hard looking up anything because at first when I looked it up, IGN's guide or walkthrough for Hitman 2016 is every fucking mission all the way through Hitman 3. So I had to look up things here and there. We don't have a whole lot to go through. I want to kind of see how we feel about these next 2. Because maybe we might just kind of hold off and do it a little bit differently, but because we'll have this. We got 2 more after that, and then we just have 1 more. So I don't know if we'll want to do 3 for the last. I don't know if we'll want to do 2, or if you want to do 1 plus a bonus mission that I heard about that I kind of want to play through. But we'll see how we feel, what the timing looks like for pure missions, going with just 2 in a row. So yeah, it'll be Sapienza and Marrakesh. Did you look up the names?
No, I did. There was a second movie in 2015 called Hitman: Agent 47.
Okay. Who was the main actor for that one?
I can look for you. They're both very poorly received.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't expect them to.
I remember the Timothy Oliphant one. I saw that when I was a kid, and it was not.
Yeah. Let me look.
Not great.
Who plays in this one? Rupert Friend is Agent 47 in that one.
This is a 5.7 out of 10. Oh, an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
That might be
Can't
worth
wait for your review on both.
Rupert Friend.
that one might be worth a watch. That's all I'm saying.
Rupert Friend is like Dollar General Orlando Bloom.
He is. He's Timu. Orlando Bloom is exactly what he is.
Damn, you guys are really roasting this dude.
I saw Orlando Bloom for a hot second. I'm like, okay, he's not as pretty. All right. I mean, it's Orlando Bloom. You can't be prettier than Orlando Bloom.
That's funny. The cast is Zachary Quinto in it. Dan Beckadal, if you saw the picture, you would know who it is. Same with Kieran Hins. He's a foreign actor who I'm sure you've seen Preston and other stuff. But
Sure.
there's like people you would recognize in that movie.
Yeah,
which is
I mean, they get names in there, but yeah, we'll see. I'll watch the Timothy one first, and then we'll go with that one afterwards for the third episode. So, but yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad that I didn't get super frustrated. The reason why I don't play these games is because I'm really bad at stealth missions. But this is not as stealthy as I thought it was going to be. There are stealth parts to it, but you put on an outfit, you can just kind of walk around whatever, as long as you don't look at the white dot dudes. You're fine. But yeah, it's going to be great. So yeah, Tune in next time. We'll be playing Sapienza Marrakesh, essentially the next 2 missions in the game. Like I mentioned before, we were only playing through Season 1. So we got these 2, and then we got 3 more levels after that. So we'll see how we split them up. But for now, we'll stick with those 2. But yeah.
Cool.
That's it.
All right, that's it. Well, thank you for hanging out with us, everybody, on another episode of The Testing Room. We will be with you next week with part 2. With that, woo, Preston, you know what to do.
Bless you.
I should tell you, the trail went dead after Romania. Our team found no records of any kind. No name, nothing.
I think they called me 47.
That's not a name.
So make it one.
All right. Agent 47.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com/thetestingroom or Twitch TV/testingroompod. To leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram @testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.
Touching lives only by ending them.